Welcome, dames and hoods, to a special film Noircade edition of Razor Fist Arcade Live. I'm here with Darren Gell. Say hello to the kind people.
Hello, fine people.
And here with Miss Eve. Say hello to the raging inflamed cunts.
What up, bitches?
We're gonna be playing a adventure game, kind of a forgotten adventure game, not technically an FMV adventure game, from 1996, entitled Philip Marlowe, Private Eye, and it's kind of funny as shit because the damn thing is, it's sort of a spin-off of the movie from, or actually not the movie, but the television show from HBO in like 1984 or something, and yet the game didn't come out until over a decade later. So I don't know what the fuck, but it's great, and it's sort of a cel-shaded kind of thing. I don't know. We played a little bit on a Twitch stream, but I wanted my proper fans, and certainly Film Noir Archives fans, to know that this shit rules and it exists. So that's exactly what we are going to play. We might have some volume issues, but we're going to try and address that as we go. So hold on a sec. Da, 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 da. And of course we're doing this 2 nights in a row because the vote yesterday was like, holy shit, it was fucking close. You know, it's fucking but apparently BattleTech found some Cinema voters at the very last minute, and some dual Cinema Doug Ducey voters, and magically won the day. So this should be a hoot and a holler.
Hoot nanny.
Let's see here. Where the fuck is the game?
Let's see. Should I,
Oh, yeah, please delve in.
Yes. Don't want to get too backed up. Let's see. Mr. Sofa King says, I'll be the first to say it. Sabaton. That is all.
Naturally.
And Debonair Nerd says,
Thought about actually having Sabaton be the opening music. Thought about it. Didn't think about it very hard, but thought about it.
Debonair Nerd says, enjoying the stream on my birthday today. Hey, congrats.
Happy birthday, motherfucker.
Happy birthday.
For those who don't know, before we move on, sorry, is that done?
No.
Oh, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off.
Today, after a big evening last night with family, now to end my 29th birthday weekend with you filthy animals. And
You old fuck!
And then there's Taryn. Godspeed, gentlemen, and Taryn.
And Taryn.
Wait, so does that mean I'm not a filthy animal? Thank you.
Oh my.
Oh.
See what you did there. Trying to reverse it on him.
And now you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, before we move on, for those who are unaware, Philip Marlowe is like the original pulp detective, essentially. Not technically, you know, Sherlock Holmes predates him, but, Nick Carter predates Sherlock Holmes by a couple of years, and, then, of course, there's...
Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
There's Sam Spade, you know, and other, guys, but they came later, actually. I think, Mike Hammer and shit like that. But, like, Philip Marlowe's the guy who really took the private detective fiction and such and turned it into basically what we today define as film noir. And that whole kind of pulp, hard-boiled detective style. A lot of that is not in Sam Spade and the Dashiell Hammett stuff. So this is, like, really formative shit, and this game is actually a direct adaptation of the original Philip Marlowe novel. I think it's The Little Sisters. I think that's what it is. You'll see in a moment, it's really, really cool. They actually provide an alternate mode so that the game will actually change. I'll just show you in a minute. So let's dive into this without further ado.
Okay. Let's check the stream to make sure that this is
Courtesy of Windows 95.
You're letting me loose?
Yeah, check that audio, please. I'd appreciate it.
The name's Marlowe.
Fuck, fantastic
Philip Marlowe.
frame rate.
I'm a licensed private investigator. You don't get rich in this racket. Sometimes you get beaten up or shot at or tossed in the jailhouse. Once in a while, you get dead. Every other month, you decide to give it up for some sensible occupation. Then the door buzzer rings, and there stands a new face with a new problem and a small piece of money. Come in, Trouble. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
A little bit quiet.
And believe me, there's nothing that can be done about the frames. This is an old fucking game.
Oh yeah, that's all the game.
The first thing you have to do is to choose which version of the game you want to play.
'Kay.
If you want to play the game that follows the plot of the book, Little Sister, then click Original Plot. If you want to play the game where the motives and murderers are not the same as the original plot, then click Alternate Plot.
That is just cool.
After you've made your selection, click Start.
I really dig that. I've never actually... That's one of the few Marlowe novels I have not read, so original plot is fine with me if you guys are good with it. Actually, in fact, let's go ahead and take a vote while I go ahead and change the volume level so we can hear this game a little better. All right. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-now. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, let's pump up the jam. What do you say? About there?
You know what? Yeah, that might do.
You think?
Yeah.
Or more?
Leave it. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, we're good.
They want the original.
They want the original? Okay. I figure a lot of you probably haven't read the book. It's pretty old. Okay. This should be good. Make sure we can see the screen as well. A lot of things can go wrong with these old as fuck games, but this one actually kind of behaves itself. Oh, is it broadcasting in black and white, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. I put a filter on it. I just wanted to make sure it worked. Sweet! The game is color, by the way. So, original? Sounds like?
Yep.
Bitchin'! We did a little, like I said before, we did a little bit of this game on Twitch. You know, it's an interesting little game. It's all about the dialogue, so I'll shut up through a lot of this.
Someone said original with one shot of whiskey.
This isn't L.A. Noire.
Orrin was living in a very tough neighborhood, Mr. Marlowe. At least I thought it was tough. The manager of the rooming house is the most unpleasant person. He smelled of liquor. Do you drink, Mr. Marlowe?
Well, now that you mention it...
I don't think I'd care to employ a detective who uses liquor in any form. I don't even approve of tobacco.
Would it be all right if I peeled an orange?
You might at least talk like a gentleman.
Anybody ever tell you you're a cute little trick?
I should hope not.
Hope isn't exactly the word. Get yourself a pair of those slinky glasses with colored rims.
Dr. Zugsmith, my employer, wouldn't permit anything like that. Do you really think so? They don't sell any in Manhattan, Kansas, where I come from. But you said you drink, and you've been very rude, and if I hire you...
If you hire me, I'm the guy you hire. What's your name and trouble? Look, you come from Manhattan, Kansas. You work for Dr. Zugsmith.
Hold on. I think I can fix this. If it's still too low. It is still a little too low?
Yeah.
And you're looking for somebody named Orrin.
Let me see. Let me see if I can pull this off.
I already have enough information about you to find out your whole family history. You don't look like the type who goes to see private detectives.
I know that. Orrin would be
did
livid,
both.
and
That's
Mother
why.
too. I just picked your name out of a phone book and...
What's your name?
My name's Orphan Quest. My father was a surgeon. He died 4 years
Okay.
ago. I live with my mother since my sister Layla and my brother
Should be
Orrin
okay.
left. Orrin was going to be a surgeon too, but he changed to engineer.
All right. Sorry, you can't see the
and
game
after
for a
2 years of
second. There we go.
medical. Then a year ago, he came out here to work for Cal Western in Bay City.
Good.
It wasn't like Orrin not to write regularly, but the last letter was several months ago. Mother and I got worried, so it was my vacation and I took the train out to see him. I'd written to Orrin that I was coming, but I didn't get any answer. So all I could do was go down to where he lived. It's in Bay City, number 449 Idaho Street. It was a cheap rooming house.
Interesting
The manager
story
was a
about Bay
horrid
City.
kind of
I'll tell
man.
in a minute.
He said Orrin had moved away a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't know where to, and he didn't care.
Go on.
Well, I called the place where he worked, the Cal Western Company, you know, and they said he'd been laid off like a lot of others, and that was all they knew. So I went to the post office and asked if Orrin had put in a change of address. They said no, so I began to get a little frightened. He might have had an accident or something.
Did it occur to you to go ask the police about that?
I wouldn't dare ask the police. Orrin would never forgive me. He's difficult enough in the best of times. Besides, our family's not the type of family to...
Well then, just what do you think might have happened?
I guess if I knew that, I wouldn't have come to see you. How much would you charge to find him?
$40 a day plus expenses.
That's far too much. I couldn't possibly afford more than $20. I've got to buy my meals and my hotel.
What hotel are you staying at?
I'd rather not tell you if you don't mind.
Why?
I'd just rather not. I'm terribly afraid of Orrin's temper. And, well, I can always call you, can't I?
Let's see a photo of him. There was a lot she hadn't told me. I stared at the family photograph and wondered, should I pump her for information on Orrin? Or should I try to find out something about her and her family?
Maybe the family, I'm thinking? I'll try Orrin. Let's talk about Orrin Hatch for a minute. It sounds good, though. We can hear the game all right?
Yeah, yep, we're good.
Okay, bitchin'. Before we move on, I said there was something. They mentioned Bay City in this. Wayman Chandler was interesting in that he lived in Los Angeles and he talked about specific places and people and kind of alluded to specific events from Los Angeles in the 1930s. But he also created fictional places, or used fictional names for actual places. Bay City, I believe, was supposed to be Santa Monica. I think it was supposed to be Santa Monica. And years later, he was asked why he changed Santa Monica's name to Bay City. And he kind of alluded to the fact that in the 30s, during Depression-era Los Angeles, the Santa Monica Police Department in particular was massively corrupt. And he had been a journalist and had found out a bunch of the corrupt shit that the Santa Monica police were doing. And so he basically changed the name of Bay City because he was using stories that were so similar to some of the corruption that had happened in Santa Monica. He didn't want to get, like, fingered by a fucking cop or whacked or some shit, right? So... kind of interesting. There's a couple fictitious names of places in his stories, and a lot of it had to do with that.
Tell me about Orrin.
He was 28 years old. He has light brown hair. He's very tall, over 6 feet. He used to wear a little blonde mustache, but Mother made him cut it off. She said,
Don't tell me. The minister needed it to stuff a cushion.
"You can't talk like that about my mother."
There's a lot of things about you I don't know, but you can stop pretending to be an Easter lily. What about his habits? What does he do for fun, besides not smoking or drinking or going out with girls?
He studies a lot, and he has a very expensive camera he likes to snap people with when they don't know. Sometimes it makes them mad, but Orrin says people ought to see themselves as they really are.
Let's hope it never happens to him. What kind of camera is it?
One of those little cameras with a very fine lens. You can take snaps in almost any kind of light. A Leica.
All right, I'll take the case. But you ought to be able to guess what happened. He's in a strange city, he's made good money for a while. He's meeting a kind of people he never met before. So he just broke training and he doesn't want his family to know about it. He'll straighten out.
No, Orrin's not the type to do that, Mr. Marlowe.
Anyone is. Out here he's lonely. He's got dough. He's got himself all jammed up with some floozy and a bottle of hooch. After all, the guy's going on 29 years old, and if he wants to roll in the gutter, that's his business.
I hate to
29,
believe
you
Mr.
say?
Marlowe. I'd hate for Mother...
Something was said about $20.
Do I have
He's
to
about
now?
to hit
That would
that
be the
boomer
custom.
age.
I'll give you a receipt.
I don't need a receipt, Mr. Marlowe.
And the phrase of the night is
You won't give
floozy
me
and
your
some
name
hooch.
and address, so I want something with your name on it.
What for?
To show I'm representing you. Call me anytime. Bristol Apartments, apartment 428.
I shan't be very likely to visit.
Shan't.
I haven't asked you yet. So, I found myself employed, and for the unheard of sum of $20 a day. There were a few places I could investigate, and I always have the resources in my office.
Yep, so now you kind of enter the more point-and-click adventure portion. That was just sort of the intro. What the hell's that? Amazing Man!
I tucked my gun into my shoulder holster. It was a dicey case, and I might need it. I put my gun back in the drawer. I didn't need it where I was going.
You can take it or not. I assume you can get arrested in this game. I assume it's worse for you if you have your gun. That would be my assumption.
While you're clicking around. We
Miss
jock
Orthe
pooping.
Quest,
Oh!
Our current client was small, neat, and prissy. She wore rimless glasses, no makeup, and no jewelry. She wasn't that kind of girl. And yet there was something in her eyes that was much older than Manhattan, Kansas. From the description she'd given me, Orrin Quest sounded like a sleazy, sanctimonious weasel. Imagine somebody whose hobby was taking sneaky photographs. If he was my brother, I might be glad I lost him. But she wanted him found. Why?
All right. Oh, yeah, he kind of if you grab your whiskey, he sort of drinks and ruminates. Okay.
We jock Poopong McPlop says, where do Steel Panther rank on the top 3 metal bands of all time?
They're a parody of one of the top 3 metal bands of all time. You know what I mean? Like, they're not a fucking metal band in and of itself. How do you... Okay, you can look around the office.
They are not meant to be taken seriously at all.
At all. I mean, some of them have been in metal bands that have been taken seriously. Satchel, I think, was in Fight with Rob Halford back in the early 90s. What are these? Your personal files. More personal files. Anything in here? Life magazine. Mavis Weld. Famous femmes of the 40s. Wow, you can actually sit here and read that whole fucking thing. That's pretty cool. Pixelated as it fucking is. You can still read it. Interesting. Holy shit. That's really neat. Meat prices soar! Coincidentally, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez seen eating a burger.
Darth Dragon says, my laptop died today. There's pain in my heart. Tomorrow I buy another. Is HP a good laptop to buy just for movies and web surfing?
I've had pretty good luck with HPs, actually. They're not half bad. You know, they are what they are. You kind of have to be careful, like with anything, but... Yeah, I haven't had bad luck with them.
Yeah, if I had to make a recommendation, I'd go with Nuke censorship. Asus is the way to go for that.
Get me my hoppers, Lamar. The new 1947 cars are here. Nice. Back when they built those things out of, what do you call it? Metal.
That's brutal. Nicholas DeLay says, greetings from the edge of Western civilization, also known as Buckeye.
Ooh. I feel like you should be commenting in Spanish, actually. What do we got over here?
Samuel Steingart says, 2 arcades in 1 weekend? You spoil us, good sir.
Yeah, I figured because the vote was kind of close yesterday. There were 3 games that were all kind of within a percentage point of each other. This was one of them. We'd been promising doing this one for a while, so it was like, you know what, let's do 2. We'll do them back to back because I have the time anyway, so why the fuck not? Is this... Can I use the phone?
Here's some much needed shekels, and keep the change, you filthy animal.
Okay. So, we can... Oh! Here's your personal files. Detective Christopher C. French. So this is a rival detective? Oh, a detective with the police force.
Hate to interrupt, but Nicholas DeLay immediately donates and says, "Okay."
Donde? Okay, so he's got files on... For those who don't know, Philip Marlowe used to be with the DA's office and got drummed out over... I forget what it was. He got drummed out of the DA for being too much of a pain in the balls, finding out about too much corruption. Something like that. That was one of the things that Raymond Chandler was really at the vanguard of, was writing stories where the cops could be corrupt too. Wasn't something that was really allowed at the time. There's D.A. Endicott. Educated at Harvard, subject received his law degree in 1925, passed the California bar in 1926, served as a pilot in World War I. Oh shit, he's the Shadow! Shot down over Germany and spent 2 years in a POW camp. 5 escape attempts, the last one successful. Married twice. His second wife is expecting their second child. I assume that would be the guy he used to work for.
Debonair Nerd is having a hard time trying to find this game. He desperately wants it, but can't find it on Steam or GOG.
Yeah, GOG needs to put this up. They need to... I would love a version that just works. I mean, I found a version that's packaged with DOSBox. I mean, this is pretty painless, but if GOG got a hold of it, they could really make it a lot more painless.
I mean, you could try maybe... there's a DOS Games website. There's also one called Abandonware. You could try that.
This is another thing that's a recurrent element in Chandler's stories. He works for the Cal Western Oil Company in Bay City. Raymond Chandler became an author, really late in life. 40s, 50s. And it's because he was basically a manager of an oil company, I believe. And then he just wound up hating it, finding out a lot about how corrupt the oil industry is and shit. And so you see a lot of characters that have to do with the California oil industry in his stories. All right, let's see here. Before you can go to you must complete the present location. See help for more details. Okay, so we're kind of looking for... Is it... Do I need to take the gun? Maybe.
I tucked my gun into my shoulder holster. It was a dicey case, and I might need it.
Okay.
I took my whiskey with me. You never know, I might need it. Lincoln Warsham says, so I know you have a
Question
further...
was,
Oh!
Where to next?
Oh, where are you going?
Oh, there we go. Ah, now we can travel. Sorry. Continue.
So I know you have further refined tastes in handguns, but I picked up my dad's 1911. It winds up to be a Colt government model.
Good shit.
Made in 1944.
Oh, hell yeah. Got a shadow pistol there, sir. Marlowe's office is in Hollywood. So I think we need to investigate probably this flop house here. Should we go to Cal Western, or should we go to the... I think this is a marijuana flop house. I was reading the dossier there. It mentioned a marijuana... a fucking 1930s crack house, basically.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know where we should go. Cal Western, I think, is where he worked. And that would be where he played.
While the chat decides, Tyler Preston says, Linkar is doing a stream and he's being trolled by Comicsgate. And it's awesome.
Kind of inevitable. Inevitable. For
Inevitable.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then
Imbadubitably.
the flop house.
Yeah, Flophouse seems to be winning. Can't imagine why.
I know, right? They want some
You
Philip
could know
Marlowe.
Bay City
Bring me a
long time
body
without
bag.
knowing Idaho Street. And you could know a lot of Idaho Street without knowing number 449. The no vacancy
this
sign
guy
had
called
been
the
there a long
Undertaker.
time. Beyond the screen door, I could see someone at the kitchen table. He was counting money. Hey, I need to see the manager.
Not in, Bub.
Who are you?
What's it to you?
I want a room.
No vacancies, Bub. Can't you read the large print?
I happen to have different information.
Huh? Go fry your head in it.
Duh!
Well, if he wasn't the manager, who was he? And what did all the money mean? This corroded place didn't look like the First National Bank of Idaho Street. I could go downstairs, bide my time, and wait and see what the man and the money were up to, or I could open the door and ask my questions now, while there was still only me to ask them and only him to answer.
Well, I mean, you did bring your gun.
I could probably go right in the front door. I got the gun.
Rent day?
You came in anyway.
Oh!
Don't sit on the floor just to be chummy.
Uh-oh. Knife. Nice! Marlowe.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, pulling guns and knives on people that are just looking for a place to live.
Take the dough and beat it. We don't ever think we wouldn't catch up with you.
You take the dough and beat it. I'll put your gun in the mailbox when I leave.
Never mind about the heater. The town's full of old iron. But you could leave the shiv with cloths, and I've done quite a bit of work on it to get it into shape.
And with it?
Could be. Maybe we meet again someday soon. When I got a friend with me.
Oh, this'll end well.
The room was full mostly of bad air and gin, but there was a reminiscence of marijuana smoke. The guy on the couch was breathing like an old Ford with a leaky head gasket. Sloppy drunks like this guy will tell you anything you want to know, if you don't push too hard. So I could just wake him up by tapping on the bottle and asking him a few questions. If that gets his attention. Some people don't cooperate with you unless you reach out and grab them and make them pay attention.
Do that one.
See, Eve is basically a terrorist.
Basically.
Shall we go full Allahu Snakbar?
Let's see.
I'm thinking. It might, with the gun, it might be more fortuitous. Because if I remember correctly, I played this game the last time. I might have had the alternate plot, and this guy was dead?
Yeah, I remember.
When he murdered?
Maybe you went to the other place first, and then when you got here, he was dead?
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe.
I can't remember if we played the original plot or the alternate plot. But, yeah, I believe this guy was deaded. I'm thinking we're going to take the direct approach. What you say?
I say yes.
Sure, why not?
What? What do you want to know? Who the hell are you?
Movie
He
Bob?
sat up after the big guy and made an off-balance swipe for the gin. I moved it out of his reach.
Who are you?
Let's just say I'm a friend of the family of a kid who came by here looking for her brother. You weren't very helpful to her. Maybe you remember more now.
I'll tell you the same thing I told her. I don't know where he went.
You're gonna end up
I
in
don't
Japanese
want
hell.
him.
A
He's
disgrace to
gone.
your ancestors.
So he doesn't want his kid sister following him around. It's a free country. It's none of my business.
But it's my business, and that makes it your business.
A real tough guy, huh? Friend of the family? I don't think so. You tell your boss we're wise to him. You tell him you better watch his step.
The fuck?
Now let me talk to the doc. Vince, the doc. It's Lester B. Clausen, that's who it is. You just tell him to...
I hope it's the hair transplant, Doc. Oh.
That was about all he could manage for the time being. The house was silent as I started up the stairs with Lester B. Clausen's passkey. I let myself in to room 214. It wasn't empty.
You're gonna end up in
I
Japanese.
beg your pardon. The manager
disgrace
told
to
me
your
this room was
ancestors.
vacant.
You can always try knocking.
Why would I? If the manager said the place was empty, he must have thought you already moved out. Okay if I look around?
There's a no vacancy sign on the house. So what makes you think if you come here, you'll find one?
A man named Orrin P. Quest told me about it. There was a look on his face that you might call watchful, but it was a watchful face to begin with.
You ain't getting nowhere with that breezy manner, bub. What kind of dick are you, city?
Your grammar is almost as loose as your toupee.
Lay off my toupee. What's a beef?
No beef. I just wondered why you had the room.
I moved from room 215. This here's a better room, that's all. You satisfied?
So, you're Hicks.
How did you...
George W. Hicks. It's in the register, room 215. You said you moved from room 215. If I had a blackboard, I'd write it out for you.
Don't get tough with me.
What happens with people that get tough with you? You make them hold your toupee?
My toupee if you know what's good for you. What's your connection?
I gave him my card and told him I was looking for all.
I'm dealing with psychos.
He asked why, but I
I
didn't
put them
answer.
away.
Okay, you don't have to answer. I'm a careful guy myself. That's why I'm moving out.
So, Hicks was leaving. He was the only witness I had to the whereabouts of Orrin P. Quest. At least he'd seen him, or maybe talked to him. I could pump him for more information now, or I could try to find out more about Hicks and where he was going.
We haven't gotten much on Orrin yet.
Information is ammunition.
Like the Major always says. I think I'm going to pump him for information on Orrin, although, oh boy. Yeah.
Maybe you don't like reefer smoke.
That and other things. That's why Quest left. He was a respectable guy, like me. I think a couple of hard boys threw a scare into him.
Why?
You just mentioned reefer smoke. Maybe he went to headquarters.
In Bay City? Why would he bother?
So, what kind of work do you do, mostly?
Anything that's reasonably honest.
Reasonably is a word you could stretch. So's honest.
You're so right. Let's get together some quiet afternoon and stretch them. I'd heard Hicks leave the room and walk around downstairs. I heard a car drive away and I searched room 214 and 215, but found nothing that connected either of them to Orrin P. Quest. Above the silence, I heard a car driving off in the distance. Then something for the first time penetrated my mind. A drunk like Clausen ought to be snoring his head off. He wasn't making a sound. I could leave whenever I wanted to, just by turning the knob.
Uh-oh. Bay City Electric Company. Boy, an electric bill for $3.
That seems
Clausen's
important.
friends, I kept it.
You have to decide here whether to leave stuff for the cops.
I'd leave that in his neck. Yeah, I wouldn't really touch the murder weapon. That's just me. If I recall correctly, too,
Some payoffs.
don't you also have, like, a limited amount of
I
time?
could take it, or I took it.
Anything here that I need? Huh. I don't think that's pertinent.
Definitely take that.
I could take this number and call it from my office, or I could leave it for the police to find. I hope... I did a nice, quiet 35 getting away from the neighborhood. On the edge of the city, I called the Bay City Police. I gave them the address of the late Mr. Lester B. Clausen. They asked why that was important. I told them the coroner would want to know. Back here at the office, I could review the case and decide where to go next.
Okay.
There's a lot of story there. We should probably do a little chunk here.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Kevin Michael von Magnum says, we all know Eve can beat the unholy hell out of most girlfriends, especially Taryn's left hand. Here's $10 and Godspeed for Saturday Night Noir.
Nice.
Mr. Mosby says, favorite music documentaries.
Favorite music documentaries. I really liked the Quiet Riot one from a couple years ago. I really like the new Richie Blackmore one from like a year ago. Something like that. Really, really good.
About this is Spinal Tap.
Yeah, no.
S Serpent 21 says.
That, you know what's a terrible one though?
What?
Fuck, and unsurprisingly, it's made by Sam Dunce. Is that Alice Cooper one? Like, for a guy that legendary, you would expect that documentary to be amazing. It's garbage. I think it's called Super Duper Alice Cooper. Fucking Shrek.
Oh.
If I ever make a Metal
Be
Mythos,
shot for just naming it. That.
If I make a Metal Mythos, I'm gonna use nothing from that. Oh, what a terrible documentary. It's like, hey guys, here's a bunch of information you heard on VH1 fucking 15 years ago, and nothing else. Just garbage.
Oh, this is it. The final, the Michael Jackson one. Wasn't that called This Is It?
That's not really a documentary. It just kind of, it was just a bunch of footage of his last, like him getting ready for that last tour or whatever he was going to do.
Oh, okay.
And a little bit of interview thrown in. The Bad 25 documentary is really, really good, though.
S Serpent 21 says, can we get your impression of Movie Slob reviewing a Bronson movie? Pauses for diabetes complications not necessary.
While this action movie has plenty of action, I think... What, Mother? What? I'm recording a video. I'm trying to keep my voice down. Can't you hear me whispering? While the action film, has lots of action, I find it problematic in the way that it deals with its female I'll take out the trash in a moment, Mother. My goodness. Sorry. I always...
That was pretty good.
The fucking... That's always bugged me about Movie Bob's videos. He's always, like, whispering. Like he doesn't want to wake up his mom in the adjoining room.
I'm happy to say I've never watched a Movie Bob video, ever.
Right? I don't think I have either. No, that's not true. I've seen half of one, and then I think me and Ace Salieri did a commentary over one a long time ago.
X-Nerd says, hey, Razor, or T, or Miss Eve, do you like whiskey?
No.
And if so, what's your favorite?
Yeah, I don't drink.
I don't drink either.
I don't really do.
You ever
hard
had
liquor.
whiskey?
I have had it, but like I don't have a favorite. I have had drinks socially,
Right.
but I don't really do it. I can't remember the last time.
See, when Terengel says drinks socially, he means he heads on over to the pump house, has a few Long Island iced teas, wakes up at a construction site with his pants down. You know, it is what it is. Let me make this call.
Very high class construction site, I'll have you know.
Let me call this number real quick, and we'll continue. Hold on.
Dr. Vince Lagarde listed himself as a neurologist. Mr. Clausen tried to telephone you this morning. He was too drunk to talk properly.
But I don't know Mr. Clausen.
Well, that's all right then. Just wanted to make sure. Somebody stuck an ice pick into the back of his neck.
Has this been reported to the police?
Naturally. But it shouldn't bother you unless it was your ice pick.
And who is this speaking?
The name's Hicks. George W. Hicks.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hicks, but I don't know Mr. Clausen. Nor have I ever heard of him.
Well, that's fine. But somebody may want to know why he tried to telephone you. Unless I forget to pass that information along.
Alright, sweet. You can continue. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Where did I leave off? Mr. Mosby says, favorite and least favorite Black Sabbath singers.
Favorite is Glenn Hughes. I liked that version of Sabbath before I really liked Sabbath, honestly. That's how I got into Black Sabbath, was Seventh Star. I kept getting recommended because I'm such a big fan of Göran Edman and Don Dokken, more R&B influenced singers like Paul Rogers and such. I kept getting recommended Glenn Hughes, and I hadn't really heard much of Glenn Hughes. And so I go on Wikipedia, and I'm looking at what he's done, and Black Sabbath pops up. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy was in Black Sabbath? And got into Seventh Star through that, and it's still my favorite Sabbath album. It's unlike anything else in their discography. So Glenn Hughes would be my favorite. I really like Tony Martin and Dio. I don't like Gillan's singing. I do like the album he's on, but I don't like his singing very much. And of course I love Ozzy, too. All that Ozzy stuff is great. It's just not my favorite. I like Ozzy and Ozzy, personally, a lot better than I like Ozzy and Black Sabbath. I like Ozzy's solo stuff a lot. I just don't care. His Sabbath stuff I can kind of take or leave. I think because it's just so overplayed. You just hear it on the radio all the fucking time.
Mackenzie Lambert says, any chance you'll play FMV Sherlock Holmes games?
That'd be cool. We did try and play a Sherlock Holmes game, and it sucked.
Yeah.
It was that newer one where
Devil's Daughter.
They tried to get all actiony with it.
Ugh.
Oh, that sucked dick through a garden hose.
What really has me worried is
what is
they're the developers of that new Cthulhu game that's coming out, the Sinking City.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, God, I want that.
The new Call of Cthulhu is good.
Yeah.
Very good.
But I'm just
The question was,
praying to God that's gonna be good, because Devil's Daughter just.
Oh, it was not goodish.
No.
Last known address was a flop house that sold marijuana. So that kind of dries up my leads on Oren. I guess I have to follow
the money.
Let's see here. Extortion, burglary. His occupation is a house painter. Remember when investigative mystery games, you actually had to investigate? Remember that? Manager of a flop house that deals drugs for the mob. Well, he's dead as shit now. George W. Hicks. Moved out of 449 Idaho Street. Oh, there we go. Okay. 965 Wyoming Street, Bay City. I assume that would be my next location. Let's see. No, he's in Bay City. Dr. Lagarde.
Deserves got nothing to do with it.
Shall we do Vince Lagarde's office or go Cal Western first? His place of work.
I don't know.
I think we should go to Cal Western. I think.
Cal Western is an oil field with ambitions of becoming a refinery. I'd explained what I was looking for and why, and the office manager had obligingly found Orenquest's one-time foreman for me.
Yes, I knew Orenquest. He didn't work here
it's
too
Ellen
long,
Page.
about a year. The company had to let go about half of the second shift about 3 months ago, and Quest was just one of a dozen we laid off.
The plant seemed to be running at full tilt now. I could ask what had caused the layoffs and what Oren's attitude toward that had been. Or I could try to get some insight into Oren's personal life.
Do I really give a shit? I mean, his death could have something to do with the oil company. There's certainly a lot of money on the line.
Yeah, that would be my vote.
Although, if his last known location was a marijuana flophouse, he had been out of the company for some time.
That's true. So, I mean, trying to get more personal information, I mean, who is this guy to Oren? Like, is he going to know that much?
All right, I'm going to go with the layoffs.
You seem to be running well now, or am I jumping to conclusions?
Actually, we're running at capacity now. The company ran into a financial snag about 4 months ago. Lost a few contracts. Without the contracts, we didn't need the engineers. But engineers are used to that. We let them go when we have to, and we hire them back when we can.
How did Mr. Quest react when he got the word that he was being laid off?
That was strange. He was furious. We told him it was probably temporary. We thought he understood how the industry works, but he was mad. He accused us of deliberately trying to ruin him. He even threatened me.
What'd he say?
He said he blamed
"Someday
Activision
he'd
and
ruin
Blizzard.
me." He said, and I'm quoting him, he'd expose my corruption to the light.
Then what happened?
Nothing. I laughed at that wacko and threw him out.
Did you ever see him again? Have any idea where he went?
No. Look, my break's over and I've got to get back to work.
Thanks for the information. One last question. Did business pick up enough for you to hire back the people you laid off?
Every last one, except Quest. We sent him a letter, got it returned unopened. Personally, I'm glad. I don't like him, never did.
I'm surprised they extended the invitation.
Well, I guess we can go to that doctor's office. Although maybe we have some more dossier information now. Idle Valley, no. Okay. Well, I guess we can go down to the doctor's office.
I was breaking and entering.
Uh-oh.
That's on the books as illegal the last time I looked. I'd take a look around, leave things how I found them, and when I was gone, no one would ever know I'd been here.
Hopefully. What's this? Got a little puzzle? Oh, hi there. Hello, doctor. Anything worth looking at here apart from the obvious? Yeah, I think,
Bring me a body bag.
Are you sure?
I think that pretty much tells me everything I need to know about the good doctor. Uh-oh.
Time to leave. Time to leave. Especially now that you've found the drugs.
Was, where to next?
Damn. I didn't get much apart from seeing that. Maybe back to my office.
I'm gonna wait for...
Orphan May Quest was waiting for me when I got back to my office.
Did you find Oren yet, Mr. Marlowe?
Not yet. I found out that the dump on Idaho Street is peddling reefers. That's marijuana cigarettes.
Why, how disgusting.
Oren must have got wise and threatened to report it to the police, so they threw a scare into him.
Oren just gets mean when people try to run him.
Okay, so they didn't try to scare him. Say they just cut off one of his legs and beat him over the head with it.
Are you trying to frighten me, Mr. Marlowe? I paid you $20 for a day's work. All you've done is find out that Oren lived in a bad neighborhood. It doesn't seem to me you've done a day's work.
But the day isn't over yet. And don't bother about the $20. You can have it back if you like. I didn't even bruise it.
I didn't mean it like that. I know you're doing the best you can, Mr. Marlowe.
With the facts I have.
But I've told you all I know.
I don't think so. How often did Oren write before he stopped?
Every week.
About what?
He wrote about his work and the plant, and sometimes about a show that he'd been to. Sometimes it was about church.
What did he do for fun?
He has this expensive camera.
And he stopped writing how long ago?
Well, about 3 or 4 months. But it was like I told you.
And she really told me everything she knew. If I believed that, I could back off a little. On the other hand, maybe it was time I pointed out to her the parts of her story that didn't add up.
Oh. I think we know which way the home viewing audience is going to err.
Yeah, let's just get it out of the way.
I hope this involves a backhand.
Just like I said,
I know what you told me. Now I'll tell you what's wrong with this picture. What's wrong is you're not scared. And you ought to be scared as hell. I can't see myself waiting for my summer vacation to come around before I started asking questions. I can't see myself bypassing the police. I can't see your dear old mother sitting there in Manhattan. No letter from Orrin, no news, and all she does is take a long breath and mend up another pair of the minister's pants.
You're a horrid, disgusting man. Don't you dare say my mother and I weren't worried.
You were worried $20 worth, honey. But
No!
about what, I wouldn't know. Just put this hunk of folding back in your saddlebag and forget you ever met me.
I'm not very likely to forget your rudeness. Nobody in the world's ever talked to me the way you have.
Don't think about it too much. You might get to like it.
Oh, shit.
I suppose you think I did that on purpose.
Did what on purpose?
Yup!
What?
Marlowe!
I'm sorry I was mean. I'll call you.
Fucking
It
Marlowe.
hadn't been much of a kiss, but it looked like I had another crack at that $20.
Yep, that ended about the way I expected.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty Marlowe.
I didn't expect that.
Stop talking crazy, says. Well, boys, life is really looking up. I'm a week away from retirement. My daughter is about to graduate college, and my wife and I are about to take our voyage around the world. Just christened our boat, too. The SS Live Forever. Yes, sir, things are and it just ends for some reason.
I know, it's odd. Mendoza! Paxton declares war on crime. There are actually clues in these newspapers.
Lord Squirrel Show says, tried writing something noir sounding with only 150 characters. Gonna ask opinions on Red Dead Redemption 2's online latest controversy and the band Beast in Black instead.
What is the latest controversy? All I'm hearing is all I'm really hearing, I think it had potential, but it's gotten to the point where it's sort of just a collection of little mini games where you can join lobbies with people. Like, it feels like they sort of presented it as this Wild West MMO, and then they kind of backed off of it, which sucks. It's sort of just, hey, join up for 4-player games with a bunch of strangers on occasion, and then if you really want to get shot in the back of the head, go ahead and do the open world shit for a while.
Yeah.
And accomplish precisely dick, you know. The LA Times, MGM and Disney merger. Hey, look, they're holding Disney's water even in the 40s. Good old LA Times. Gangster found shot to death on Franklin Avenue. Sonny Mo Stein. No, stop it.
Uzi Patrol says, do you like the movie Oh, actually, we skipped the second part of his question there.
Oh, did we?
Opinions on Beast in Black.
Oh, I like Beast in Black, okay.
All right.
Not one of my favorite bands or anything.
Sucker!
It's like they know.
I know. Let me see if I can ruminate on some alcohol.
Vince the Doc. When Clausen assumed I represented trouble, he called in the Marines. Vince the Doc. And half an hour later, he was conveniently dead. Lagarde was a licensed doctor. I looked it up. How did he fit into this? Clausen called him when he wanted a few of those boys to take care of me, so Lagarde must be connected to the mob that was selling drugs at 449 Idaho Street. Did he kill Clausen? And one more thing. He used to practice in Cleveland. I looked it up.
Either way, the doctor's dirty as shit.
Uzi Patrol says, do you like the movie Chinatown?
I do like Chinatown. The one I want to see is the sequel, The Two Jakes. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
Should I leave the gun? I haven't had to use it yet.
Never leave home without it.
Well, I don't know. It could get you in trouble in fucking California. All right.
Up to you.
All right.
The question was, where to next?
That is the question. Whoa. The fuck?
You, Marlowe? I need something kept in a safe. For that, I have a nice C-note right here in waiting. Room 332, Van Nuys Hotel. Not 2 quick ones, 2 slow ones. Hey, wait a minute. How's every little thing in Bay City, Marlowe?
Huh.
Well, that's not fucking suspicious.
That's not ominous at all. What's this? Oh, you can turn on the radio.
This is car 34. Tell McGlashan that wasn't a crank call. There is a dead body at 449 Idaho Street.
Oh, this is cool.
Klausen, all right. Nasty way to
I never
go,
fucked with
too.
this before.
An ice pick to the back of the neck. Send in homicide and the lab boys.
Neat. Let's see here. Shall I go to Van Nuys Hotel to the obvious trap? I have the gun.
Yeah, did you actually pick it up?
I did.
The house dick had told me that Dr. G.W. Hambleton was registered in room 332.
I'd get there eventually when my frame rate allowed it.
Nothing happened. I felt as if I'd spent my life knocking at doors in cheap hotels that nobody bothered to open.
Oh, look, another ice pick.
Let's not hang around too long.
Oh, looky who.
Take your card off of him. Find your fucking card and get it off of him.
Oh my, yeah. Does he have it still? Happy birthday, Quentin. FBI arrests dope smuggler. Oh. Optometrist.
I could take it, or I could leave it for the cops.
Yeah, I would take the card.
I've
Or you
taken
just
a
take
lot
the whole
of
thing.
evidence, haven't I?
Oh my. I'll leave the gun. Greyhound bus.
Someone was planning on leaving.
To Denver, one way. I don't need this. I do like that they let you decide what evidence you want to take. What you want to let the cops discover. MW.
What's Marlowe's last name? Or is Marlowe his
That's
last
his
name?
last name.
Oh, okay. Well,
MW. The Starlet? From the Life magazine, Mavis Walker, was it?
oh, yeah, you might want to take that.
I could take it, or I could leave it there for the police to find.
I'm taking it.
Another piece of evidence. for
I'm
my
taking this.
collection.
I'm taking this couch.
What was in the black book?
Hold on. There's more over here. SR73456. We got a phone number. I think I have to take this. Huh.
Another matchbook. Do I take it?
Yes.
I kept it.
Mavis Weld. There you are.
go.
Anyone who had the pleasure of watching Mavis Weld's gripping performance in her supporting role in Lady of the Shadows knows that she's headed for future film triumphs. The depth of her portrayal of a young woman determined to follow her own dreams, but conscious and not unaffected by how her decisions will affect the other people in her life, is nothing short of superlative. One might well ask how someone so young could manage to evoke the underlying sadness and pain which accompany her character's final triumph. This reviewer has no doubt that blah 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 blah. Oscar Tantamount is lucky to have her.
Yeah.
Nothing beats a trip down memory lane, especially in Hollywood, where the good old days can mean something that happened less than 10 years ago. Holy shit! How little has changed. Okay. Oh, man, I can't find his card. Or my card. Oh my, of course. Bay City Camera Shop. Oh, hi there.
Yep, take it.
I could take it, or I could leave it for the cops.
This I have to take.
I pocketed it.
That's amazing.
This game is awesome. What did you say about the black book?
There was a black book in one of those drawers. Oh, did you look at it already?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do everything when drunk. Hookers?
Yeah, looks like
Names of hookers, I'm thinking.
Chantel Brown Sugar.
Oh my.
Yeah, I guess you could
He
leave
likes
that.
the chocolate.
Yeah, he's acquainted with women of the night. Okay, anything else around here? Nothing. Hold on, there's... Nope, wait. Is it the bathroom?
The bathroom was disturbed like the bedroom. Someone had been looking for something.
Uh-oh.
Don't turn around. Put your hands on the sink.
It was not the voice which had talked to me over the telephone. I didn't move.
Don't ever think I'm fooling. I'll give you exactly 3 seconds to do what I say.
Couldn't you make it a minute? I like looking at you.
Oh my god.
No!
I didn't see a way out of getting the cops involved in this one. So I went to talk to the house dick. I had the feeling he hadn't seen a first-class ice pick job lately. I'd already checked the bathroom and found out everything I needed to in there.
Guess it's time to go.
I guess all I had to do was consult the floor. Nothing else over here, I don't think. Okay, let's get the hell out of here.
Detectives French and Bayfus arrived. They took a few notes and then started to examine the body.
Punctured spinal cord, just below the occipital bulge, I'd say. Very vulnerable spot. Whoever did this was a performer. Got the spinal cord on the first try. And another thing, you have to have the guy quiet to do it. That means more than one killer. Unless he was doped or the killer was a friend of his.
I don't see how he could have been doped if he was the party that called me on the phone.
If. And since you didn't know the guy, according to you, there's always the faint possibility that you wouldn't know his voice? Or am I being too subtle?
I don't know. I haven't read your fan mail.
Don't waste it on him, French. All right. The customer had something he was afraid to keep around. That means he knew somebody was after him and getting close. So he offers Marlowe $100 to keep it for him. It must have been something semi-legitimate, right, Marlowe?
You could leave out the semi.
So what he had was something that could be kept flat or rolled up. And we don't know whether it was found or not. Any chance to check his visitors?
You don't even have to pass the desk to get to the elevators. Maybe that's why he came here. That and the homey atmosphere.
Okay. Whoever knocked him off could come and go without any questions asked, and that's about all we know. Okay, Bayfus?
Not quite all. Without the toupee, Bayfus and French realized that Dr. Hambleton was really Mile Away Marston, who used to be a runner for a gangster by the name of Ace DeVore. Back here at the office, I could review the case and decide where to go next.
All right, let's
Movie
look at...
stars are odd ducks. They build a whole career out of being recognizable behind any costume, in any situation, and then, after all that effort to make us remember them, they think they can hide behind a simple pair of dark glasses.
Let's do a small block here.
Okay.
Justin would like to know your thoughts on Bud Dwyer.
Not familiar. Don't know who that is.
Okay. Lucifer says. Here we go. Lucifer says, where does a Jewish kid go with ADD go?
Where?
Concentration.
Oh, God, come on.
Bring me a body bag.
It's a little lazy. Come on.
Just a bit.
Okay, that's the phone number from earlier.
Crimson Glory says, For every time Linkara gets trolled, a citizen gets a gun. Citizen of what country? Doesn't matter.
I like how he's so obviously left-wing, but he kind of keeps it in harness because he knows he'd lose all of his subscribers, you know what I mean? Like, he should rename his show Atop the Fourth Fence.
Crusader Saracen says, guys, how absolutely boned would we be if Hillary, aka Obama 2, Electric Boogaloo, had won the election? The thought of that makes
considerably worse than Obama.
The thought of that makes rather...
Well, what worries me about it is I'm already unsettled by, like, as much as I appreciate Trump actually fulfilling campaign promises at the beginning of his tenure, and continuing to fulfill one here and there as long as Congress allows him, it also has put a lot more power onto the office of the president, and that was I really do ascribe I really do prescribe rather to the logic that a lot of people put forward that Obama increased the power of the presidency because the plan was he was sort of priming the pump for Hillary. The idea was increase the power of the presidency so that when Hillary gets in there, she can really change some shit. I really think the plan was for her to be an FDR type that increased the power and size and scope of the federal government by unprecedented amounts, and it just had so much reach that there was really nothing Congress could do to forestall her. And of course, because she was a woman, you would automatically have the sexism excuse when anyone tries to oppose her, much like Obama with the race thing. I really do believe that was the plan or the strategy from the DNC. Fortunately, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, those darn that pesky voting shit got in the way once again.
Yeah. I've always thought to myself, like, Trump was never supposed to win.
Absolutely not. And everything we've seen over the last, 3 years speaks to that and further establishes that was the case. And it's yet another reason why, even if you have an issue with Trump, which I have several, I think you need to throw the lever for him again. I really do.
He continues, and I'm going to read this exactly as he wrote it. The thought of that makes rather wrap my dick in barbed wire and fuck assault.
Okay.
Also, Eve, how's AZ?
I love it so much. Way better than Illinois.
That's easy.
It seems like there's more hobos here than what I've seen in Illinois. The other day, I was walking outside of the mall, and I saw a broken needle on the sidewalk.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's not good so much, but the gun laws here are really nice, so yeah.
The problem is we get all the castaways from California, and California has such a homeless problem that we invariably wind up suffering the same issue. So a lot of people, look, a fucking hobo rides the goddamn rails. Where are they gonna go? They're gonna go somewhere close. Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Texas, right? So we get a lot of that overflow. And I can speak from personal experience. I've been to California and volunteered with the homeless. And they have a serious fucking issue over there. Serious fucking issue. And we just kind of get the backwash of it.
Thanks for all the entertainment, y'all, and Godspeed. Mr. Mosby says, what major corporation has the worst and most insufferable marketing team, and why is it Disney?
God damn. You like how suddenly Brie Larson decided to shut the fuck up? Like, you can tell someone at Disney was like, hey, shut up. Because she kept, every time she parted her fucking maw, she said something even more retarded about the Captain Marvel movie. One time it was, I'd rather not be interviewed by men. It's just, you can tell someone finally was like, okay, that's quite enough, sweetheart. That's quite enough. We'd like to sell tickets to this movie, please. But yeah.
MBK says, picked up The Shadow, Blood and Judgment, and
nice.
Absolutely hated it. Then I read the author's notes. Chaikin, you masterful troll. What was your initial reaction to the book?
I thought it was fine. You have to take it as a standalone thing. To me, it is to The Shadow what Batman The Dark Knight Returns is to Batman. I think The Dark Knight Returns is kind of a piece of shit, personally. I always have. But if you take it on its own as sort of a separate thing outside of Batman continuity, it's awesome, right? You have to treat The Shadow, Blood and Judgment the same way. It's sort of this reimagining. It sort of exists in a vacuum. The unfortunate fact about The Shadow, Blood and Judgment, though, is that it spawned a DC ongoing comic series that was terrible by Kyle Baker and Andrew Helfer. Yeah, Kyle Baker and Andrew Helfer. Terrible. I think Bill Sienkiewicz did some art in that, too. Just an absolute triumvirate of insufferable asshats. And the whole ongoing series sucked ass. But Blood and Judgment, I think, within the context of itself, is really, really good. One of the best Shadow comics and one of the best Shadow graphic novels ever written. You just have to sort of take it on its own terms. I'm gonna make this call right now.
The easiest way to find out whose number was written on the inside of the matchbook was to call him. So I did.
Steelgrave's residence, may I help you?
Is this Mr. Steelgrave?
No, sir, this is Wentworth, Mr. Steelgrave's butler.
Wentworth.
May I announce who's calling?
Yeah.
My mistake. I must have dialed the wrong number. Sorry for the inconvenience. So, the telephone number belonged to a very rich party named Mr. Steelgrave. How did the phone number of a rich man get in the inside of a matchbook that belonged to a dead man with an ice pick in his neck?
Interesting.
Charvale says, a collection of Scottish millennials were posting on a forum about how their computers weren't fast or powerful enough. So the de facto leader posted, "Tartans, tonight we wine at Dell."
He can't ruminate right now, so I like how there is literally a ruminate function in this game.
Anime Mun says,
ooh.
So, Razor, am I the only son of a bitch who wants to see the NES Deja Vu game remade like they did Shadowgate?
Oh, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
You know, I actually own that.
Do you?
Yeah, I have the original NES cartridge.
Cool. I always liked that.
Anything change?
Dolores Gonzalez from Tanamount Studios. Dolores Gonzalez is an orphan. She was raised by nuns in Mexico City. It was while she was attending UCLA that she accompanied a friend to an audition. Impressed with her dark beauty, the audition director asked her if she'd consent to audition too. His name was Weinstein. I mean, she did. The audition tape was seen by Phil Klein, the director of Wild Rio Grande, all over her face, neck, and chest. I mean, he was looking for an unknown to play a lead female role in Teenage Tit Freaks 9. Here's Mavis Weld. Recognized as an outstanding actress who was on the verge of coming into her own. Sonny Mo Stein, here's the guy who died. Yeah, see, all this stuff got added from articles that I read, which is kind of cool. So this is actually adding clues to the game. Wonder if we have any new addresses. Mavis Weld's apartment has been added. The Bay City Camera Shop. Should we go there? I feel like that's probably an important place to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
See if we can develop some film or something.
I had already chewed my way through the Los Angeles paper, which contained no item about Ice Picks or the Van Nuys or any other hotel. The Bay City News wasn't too busy to write up a murder, though. They put it on the first page, right next to the price of meat.
8 in large prints from your negative. It is Mr. Hicks, isn't it?
I went out and sat in my car and looked over the catch. The print showed a couple sitting in a booth in a restaurant. The tablecloth was covered with tiny figures of dancing couples. That made the restaurant the dancers. The girl was Mavis Weld. The man I didn't recognize. I figured it must have been a hidden camera trick. It wasn't too hard for me to guess who had taken the picture. Mr. Orrin P. Quest must have moved fast and smooth to get out of there with his face still on the front of his head.
Sounds like Orrin, his camera hobby might have had something to do with blackmail.
This is a warning, Marlowe. Back off, or we'll fix you good. You think that office of yours is untouchable? It's a crackerjack box. We could go in and take anything we wanted. Or maybe we don't take things out. Maybe we leave something in. Something the police would like. You've been warned, Marlowe. Keep out of our business, or you'll be put away for murder.
Subtle.
But now you got that picture. Now you can visit Mavis.
Yep.
Where to go? Bay City? Hollywood?
Well, first I'd like to review the evidence.
Only Caleb asks, thoughts on Stryper's latest album, Goddamn Evil?
Not as good as Fallen, but still really good. I just thought Take It to the Cross was kind of, how do you do, fellow kidsy? It was a little, I didn't really think that worked so well. A little hot topic-y, not very Stryper. But there's most of the material on it is really good. Just, you know, pretty much as good as Fallen, but in the overall, not as good an album as Fallen. What's this? Oh, interesting. You can zoom in. Huh.
Oh, you got a date.
Oh, I see. February 3rd, 1946. Anything else? No, is that all I can look at? Apparently.
Dean Thomas donated $20. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, I have an extra copy of Hearts of Iron 3 for Steam for either Razor or Terran.
Oh, sweet. I've got 4. I don't have 3, though.
If you guys want it. If you don't know what that is, it is a World War II grand strategy game. Complex and very fun.
Yeah, it's really good. I was about to play it last night.
Let me know and I can DM you the key. Well, that's very generous of you, sir. Thank you. Vlad the Kebab.
No Oh, I have a rumination open. A whiskey rumination.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh. Vlad the Kebab Remover says, Howdy, Styx Razor Hammer 666, Mr. T and Madame Fist. I missed the last stream, so have some dollary dues as recompense. Just wondering what you think of David Lynch's films since they have noir themes.
They do, and I would say a few of them are neo-noir, not all of them. David Fincher as well. But yeah, I like him on the whole. Not all of them. You know, he tends to get weird and Twin Peaks-ish. You know what I mean? So it's not my favorite shit, but some of it, yeah. Like, you know, Blue Velvet I would consider neo-noir. You know, some of that stuff. Ridley Scott has done a lot of neo-noir. The movie Someone to Watch Over Me is definitely a neo-noir. Certainly Blade Runner is neo-noir. And I would say Black Rain even is very, very neo-noir. So, you know, Ridley Scott kind of expert at that as well.
Dr. Hambleton, who I knew as G.W. Hicks, was killed with an ice pick to the back of the neck. Just like Lester Clausen. Was it done by the same murderer? Or was there a ring of ice pick murderers? What was Mavis Well doing there? And of all the things for Hicks to be hiding for safekeeping, it had to be a receipt for photographs, which made me think of Orrin Quest. He liked to take photos of people when they weren't looking. Was Hicks killed for the photo receipt? Did Orrin do it?
James
kind
Percy.
of the ice pick thing kind of screams mob to me.
But keep in mind the detective said the guy who got stabbed in the neck was stabbed in a very specific spot. Like the person knew what he was doing.
Yeah, like a doctor?
Maybe. James Percy donates
Question
twice.
was, where to next?
And says, Razor, what would Hank Hill say about Eve's pistol?
I don't think Hank Hill, but another King of the Hill character would probably have something to say about it. Vaya con Dios.
Oh my god. Oh my
Come on, you know it.
Whatever.
You need to stop watching that Monsignor Martinez.
And then his second one is, Low T, what does your rabbi say about you being gay? He doesn't say much
You
of
want
anything
I should give you
anymore.
shock treatment. I wonder if I could break into one of these places again. You think?
Do it.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna roll the dice before I talk to...
The good doctor was in.
Oh.
I was questioning him about the case, but it wasn't going well.
Oh, boy.
You could kill a man with that.
Very easily.
An inch and a half in the back of the neck, just under the occipital bulge.
An ice pick would be better. Filed down very sharp. If you miss the spinal cord, you do no great damage.
Takes a bit of medical knowledge, then.
That would help. But any reasonably dexterous person could acquire the technique in 10 minutes.
Orrin Quest had a couple of years of medical.
I told you, I don't know anyone by that name.
Yeah, I know you did. I didn't quite believe you. Dr. Lagarde ended the conversation. He claimed he was out of time. I thought he was out of patience.
Okay, then we should probably go to Miss Weld's apartment, I would think.
To get in to see Miss Weld, I'd lied and said I was sent by the studio. I was met at Mavis's apartment by Dolores Gonzalez. I recognized her and made the mandatory compliment on her last picture.
Are you quite sure you have the stills, amigo? They are usually a little too big to put in your pocket.
Her voice was cool. She looked almost as hard to get as a haircut. For Miss Weld personally. Sorry.
I told you she was taking a bath.
I'll wait.
I am most fully aware that you are a damned liar, and that you have no stills in your pockets. Perhaps you would like to help her. The bathroom is up there, through the arch and to the right. Most probably the door is not locked.
Not if it's that easy.
Oh, you like to do the difficult things in life. I must remember to be less approachable.
Don't bother, Miss Gonzalez. I'm just a guy who came here on business.
You may call me Dolores, if you wish.
So glad you two got acquainted.
It was the voice I'd heard at the hotel.
The name is Philip Marlowe. It's nice, don't you think?
I didn't know you bothered to ask them their names.
Such a charming way to insult a girl. At least I haven't been sleeping with any gunman lately.
Are you sure you can remember? Open the door, honey. This is the day we put the garbage out. On your way, Dreamboat. Make with the feet.
I came here on business, Miss Weld.
Out. I don't know you. I don't want to know you. And even if I did, this wouldn't be either the day or the hour.
Never the time and the place and the loved one all together.
What's that?
Browning. The poet, not the automatic. I feel sure you'd prefer the automatic.
Look, little man, do I have to call the manager to bounce you downstairs like a basketball?
If you're going to stand that close to me, maybe you better put some clothes on.
Oh!
Did I hurt you? That's fine.
Jesus!
I think you'd better kiss me.
Believe me, there's only one reason I don't. I might just happen to start working for you.
I'm free, white, and 21. I've seen all the approaches there are. I think I have. If I can't scare you, lick you, or seduce you, what the hell can I buy you with?
Well...
Oh, don't tell me. Money, of course.
Money would help.
How much money?
Oh, $100 would do to start with.
It's a cheap little bum, isn't it? Is $100 money in your circle, darling?
Make it 200. I could retire on that.
Still cheap. Every week, of course, in a nice, clean envelope.
You could skip the envelope. I'd only get it dirty.
And just what do I get for this, my charming little gumshoe?
How did she know I was a detective? I could reach for my notebook and ask her. Or I could put on my hat and leave. But make one thing clear before I left.
Well, I mean, you came here for information.
This is true.
You'd get a receipt. Who told you I was a gumshoe?
It must have been the smell.
I'm beginning to think you write your own dialogue. I've been wondering what was the matter with it.
And with that, I believe I must have used up my entire stock of girlish charm.
I never thought you killed him. But it would help to have some sort of a reason for not telling them you were there.
My goodness. Am I supposed to have killed somebody?
Look, you're going to find this hard to believe, but I came over here with the quaint idea that you might be a girl who needed some help. But you're not in any jam. You don't need me. You don't need anybody. You're so damn smart you could talk your way out of a safe deposit box. Okay, go ahead. Talk your way out. Just don't make me listen to it. She didn't move or breathe when I reached the door, nor when I opened it. I don't know why. The stuff wasn't that good. I left Miss Wells. Where should I go now?
I think I probably should have bugged out there.
You've been a very busy boy, haven't you, Marlowe?
Uh-oh.
You know the police would be interested in where you've been lately at the scene of murders. You've been withholding information and evidence. That's no way to treat the city's finest, Marlowe. They could arrest you for that. All it takes is a tip-off to the police, Marlowe, and you'll be seeing the world through the wrong side of a jail cell.
Is there a right side of a jail cell?
Mr. Monkey Lint points out, free white in 21 is a phrase for private wit from The Thin Red Line by James Jones.
Right. Well, that would have been swiped from this.
Just saying. That's what it says. Let's read out a couple here.
Okay, so we have Dolores Gonzalez's apartment. We could probably grill her for information we couldn't get from What's-Her-Snatch. But go ahead.
Oh, nobody messes with Adam Wee. Donates 20. Thank you very much. Evening, Jensen, lady. Would you say the better sequels in the Alien franchise are the ones that emulate the first film, number 3, Prometheus, while the outright terrible ones take a lot from the second movie?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Also, super male vitality.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, low cabinet in my office. I see. I just would rather, the more I think about it and the more a lot of people think about it, it would have been better if there had been one Alien movie, honestly. Because Aliens could have been a Starship Troopers movie or something. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't, it has nothing to do with the first movie, really. And I always hear this horse shit about, they deepened the mythos. No, they cheapened the mythos. They took this unstoppable fucking force that couldn't be flamethrowered, that finally had to be flushed out of goddamn airlock, that got harpooned to shit and was still living, and they just took it and said, fuck it, you can just shoot them. They're bugs. They're bugs now. The moment the phrase bugs came up, to me, that was kind of the moment the xenomorphs, the moment they were called xenomorphs, for fuck's sake. That was the moment they were cheapened, in my opinion.
Crusader Saracen says, hot take incoming. Futurama is a far superior show to Rick and Morty.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Lucifer says, my girlfriend broke up with me, so I stole her wheelchair. Guess who came crawling back? Stealth Creation says, was CPAC good, even with reception of a CNN reporter and kicking Laura Loomer out?
That was the best part.
Yeah, that was the best part, yeah, I was going to say.
Or does CPAC seem unwell because of it?
No, fucking hell. Both of the C's in CPAC used to stand for cucked. Now it's, it seems like post-Trump they've had to change tack a bit. A few years ago, I don't know if you guys remember, in 2016, they basically tried to set up a fucking snare for Trump. They invited him to come down, and then they were gonna sort of trap him with gotcha questions and shit because he was the front runner at that point, but they wanted Ted Cruz to be president. So he decided to not go, and so they were, clucking about how he was a pussy and whatever, even though that was the smartest thing he could have possibly fucking done. Kind of like Ann Coulter a while back when she was She had agreed, air quotes, to debate Kyle Kalinske, which is not factual. She never agreed to a debate. He just said, hey, if you're at this convention, then we're going to have a debate. What was that, Politicon? I think it was Politicon. It was a few months ago. It was such a fucking obvious setup, it's not even funny. And she was like, hey, I smell a setup. I'm not going. And they called this her backing out of a debate. How do you back out of a debate you never agreed with?
Seriously, who is he?
Oh, he's this guy who debated one person once and now has retired from debating forever because he's not stupid.
A lesbian soccer mom.
It's like, what? Has he written
He
books?
look,
or-
you know that she's not going to debate some nobody with no fucking subscribers.
She's Ann
And
Coulter.
she's Ann Coulter. I don't like Ann Coulter that much, but for Christ's sake.
One thing I didn't like was they didn't let Nick Fuentes there because of
Because the whole fucking thing was far left wing and obviously set up to be that way. It was a bit of a honeypot. That's what it was. It was a fucking honeypot. They were trying to draw conservatives in so they could embarrass them. And she was smart enough to smell that coming, to her credit. So,
and we'll do
one more and then I'm jumping into this because I don't want to sit here at the same screen forever.
Merlin's Jester says, playing Betrayal at Condor while listening to this.
Nice. I really, really dig that game.
I made a note to stop by my office later and see if anyone was waiting there.
I'd rather not. Oh, God. Should I?
I really can't say.
I'm going to go to Gonzalez's apartment first. The game does change depending on where you go at different
Breaking
times.
and entering is only a crime if you get caught.
Oh, I think
Pick
you
the
got
lock
a really limited
and
time
let
here.
myself in.
Oh, same guy.
Make the most of it.
Yep. That's what I'm looking for. I wanted to be sure. Santa will forget you. This is the best one money can buy. When I get back to you, I'll take you to blah, 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 blah. You're already armed with more charms and rules than a woman should have. Okay, so she's got a bow.
Time to go.
The question was, where to next?
Okay. I guess I go back to my place now. Oops.
Mr. Marlowe, no doubt.
Uh-oh.
My name is Toad, Joseph P. Toad. It's a little late for a business call. I hope you don't mind. I trust you don't already have all the business you can handle, Mr. Marlowe.
Don't kid me. My nerves are frayed. Who's the junkie with the gun?
Oh, come along, Alfred, and stop acting girlish. Where were you?
Mr. Toad and Alfred explained the purpose of their visit. Toad explained. Alfred twitched. They were here to offer me $500 to stop investigating. I asked if that meant they were connected to the blonde. Toad implied that I might know too much already and suggested that I talk to Sheridan Ballou, a Hollywood agent who handled Mavis Weld.
How's everyone doing this evening? And before anybody starts asking about Bond, no, we haven't had any more or watched any more. I'm doing good tonight. Feeling fine.
Alright. Let's see here. I wonder if he would... Well...
Clausen was a sloppy drunk and he ran a drug house. He was too stupid to be the boss, so he must have been working for someone else. But why was he dead? Who stood to gain anything from his death? He didn't look like he had anything that was worth killing him for. Maybe he was killed because he knew something. But what did he know? Something about Orrin Quest? Something about George Hicks? Or some other reason?
Interesting.
Debonair Nerd would like to know, has Razor ever played the 1990s game Black Dahlia? It's an FMV game.
I haven't. Is it any good?
I don't know. But it can't be any worse than the movie.
Certainly can't. I wonder if it's actually based on the book. The James Ellroy book.
Mr. Mosby says, Razor, tell Taryn you love him.
Is this a running theme now? Okay. Anything new in here? Like, what are the top file cabinets for? They haven't thus far contained any useful information. Nothing really here. Okay.
The question was, where to next?
Oh my.
Listen, Marlowe, you've got a lot to learn about how the world works. You know, one phone call to the right person at City Hall from the right person could get that PI license of yours yanked. You want to stay in business. Stay out of our business. Stop nosing around.
Maybe just don't answer the phone anymore.
Yeah, this is sounding like a better and better idea.
Andrew Magnum
Bring
says,
me a body bag.
All right.
No, he does not say bring me a body bag.
Not so much.
He says, understand you and the lady don't drink, but Taryn? Drink of choice. Type and brand. Beer? Liquor? I do not drink beer. Ugh. Just the taste. Gross.
All beer tastes like shit.
Yeah, it's awful. I don't understand how people drink it.
It's gross.
But when I do, on the occasion when I do drink, White Russians are good. Irish Cream's pretty good. I don't have like a brand or anything, but
Russian collusion confirmed.
Yep. Thank you for turning me on to Dr. Thunder.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
My lord.
You didn't say that right.
Well, I can't.
Dr. Thunder!
I can't physically say it correctly. My lord, where have you been all my life? Keep on the great work. Godspeed, my friends.
You believe in Jesus.
More Thief Deus vids?
Oh, fuck yeah.
We'll add it to the schedule. Anything new?
Desktop resources. By clicking on the exit until you return to the desktop resources with an active map. Okay. I was just looking through the how to play shit, just in case I had missed some crucial gameplay element, but it looks like we're all right. All right, cool. Is there any new locations? The doctor was not helpful. We got what we need from the camera shop and from the oil company. Anything new in Hollywood? Maybe. Oh, there's a new office. Here we go.
I was here to talk to Mr. Ballou about Mavis Weld. Mr. Ballou had sent 2 punks to scare me, and I might get further with Mr. Hollywood Agent if I showed him some force. Or I could do it civilly with my hat in my hands. After all, he was in a civilized industry, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The girl is a client of mine, of course. That fellow that's with her is the chap that owns the dancers, name of Steelgrave.
I said Irish cream.
All I see is 2 people having lunch at a public place on a certain date. Hardly disastrous to the reputation of my client. What were you thinking of asking?
You don't want to buy anything, Mr. Ballou. I could have had another negative made.
That's not much of a sales pitch for a blackmailer.
She's close to the big money. That picture would stop her cold if I were to show it to the Johns downtown.
Why would the police be interested?
I'd first have to connect it up with something that happened at the Van Nuys Hotel. I'd connect it up through Mavis Weld, who won't talk to me.
Yes, she warned me about you. Said a private detective named Marlowe had tried to force her to hire him. on the grounds that she was seen in a downtown hotel inconveniently close to where a murder was committed.
She also told you that if somebody didn't shut my mouth, she would be in a lot of trouble. So you sent over a couple of hard boys. It didn't work. The man who took that photo is missing and can't be found. He's probably dead. 2 other men who lived at the same address are dead. One of them is trying to peddle those pictures just before he got dead. She didn't get the delivery, and neither did the killer. They didn't know where to look.
And you did?
I was lucky. She wanted that picture.
Fucking 1940s Miami Vice there.
Why? It's just 2 people having lunch on a certain day. The day Moe Stein was shot to death on Franklin Avenue. The day a character named Steelgrave, the man in that picture, was supposed to be in jail because the cops got a tip. He was a Cleveland Red Hot named Weepy Moyer.
What do you really want, Marlowe?
I left the office with a pass and the stage number Mavis Weld was working
Nice! I get to pay a visit to a movie set. Everything's coming up Marlowe. Let's see here. Steelgrave. I should probably look up some shit on him. 90 Tower Road, Stillwood Heights, Beverly Hills. Subject arrived in California in 1944 and acquired several businesses including Pacific Importing Company, Ace Laundry and Dry Cleaning, Acme Auto Parts, Rapid Television, the Dancers Club, Columbia Air Transport, Allied Industries. His stock holdings are various and substantial, but center on the entertainment industry. An aggressive investor, he follows the principle that it takes money to make money. He often takes the entire profit from an enterprise, for example, the return on backing a film, and backs a new enterprise. A Native American, the subject left for Europe in 1936 and spent the next 8 years in Algeria running an import-export business. He's an importer. He's an importer-exporter. Artcore.
You actually read up on the thugs that he sent over. That's great.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anything pertinent there.
I sincerely doubt it.
Heroin addict. Questioned in the death of his mother, found gassed to death in her kitchen. Coroner ruled it a suicide. Sounds like he was on the ball.
Wee Jock Poopong McPlop says.
Hold on. 4 arrests, no convictions. One-time child actor, middle brother of a dancing triplets vaudeville act. They couldn't dance and they weren't triplets. Vaudeville died, but no charges were ever filed. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Says, just another night staying up to the wee hours of the night. Blathered out of my head to watch Razor Fist. Only to fall asleep an hour after he comes on. Oh, you fell asleep? Well, welcome back. Now go to bed.
Okay, Tantamount Studios or Steelgrave's Mansion? That is the question.
Which place?
Are we gonna? Well, if Steelgraves is implicated, we're gonna need information from Mavis Weld first.
Yeah, I was going to suggest wherever you can get more information that will help later elsewhere.
You know what? If she's at the set, how about we run off to her apartment first and rifle it?
Ooh.
Let's see.
Make sure you spend your time wisely.
Yeah.
The door hadn't been locked securely, so I let myself in.
Method acting. Interesting. Peroxide. Someone's been dyeing their hair. Steelgrave.
CS. Fuck, that was fast.
Oh yeah, they don't fuck around,
It's
bro.
a mansion, so I guess so.
They do not fuck around. Well, I did get some extra stuff there.
Did you?
Yeah, I got CS.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's get down to Tantamount.
C.S. Lewis? Charlie Sheen?
She doesn't seem like she has AIDS.
Miss Weld was at work on stage 17.
Somebody let you in here. Who? Why? That takes explaining.
She'd started right up where she'd left off. She was in big trouble. I was already involved. and I could take care of myself and her. Still, I had a notebook full of unanswered questions about Mavis Weld.
Go with your heart.
This ain't
I'm
over.
working for you. I've been paid a retainer, and Baloo has the receipt.
How very thoughtful. And suppose I don't want you working for me.
All right, be fancy.
Well?
I have the negative and some other prints. You'd have had them if you had more time and known where to look.
I'm a little chilly and I have to get some lunch.
You're a little chilly and you have to get some lunch.
And you've waited too long. You haven't anything to sell. Except perhaps your life.
I'd sell that cheap. For love of a pair of dark glasses and a delphinium blue hat and a crack on the head from a high-heeled slipper.
Not to mention getting thrown out of my apartment. Goodbye, Mr. Marlowe. You came too late. Much too late.
For me? Or for you?
I think for both of us. I think you should come to my dressing room. It's more private. So ask me the questions.
Who's Steelgrave?
A man I've known for years and liked. He owns things. A restaurant or two. Where he comes from, that I don't know.
But you know him very well.
Why don't you just come right out and ask if I sleep with him?
I don't ask those kinds of questions. Has he ever been in trouble? With the police?
The man is worth a couple of $1 million. Don't be ridiculous.
How did he get it?
How would I know? I really do have to eat something, Marlowe. I'm working this afternoon. You wouldn't want me to collapse on the set, would you?
Okay, I'll leave. Don't forget I'm working for you. I wouldn't be if I thought you killed anybody, but you were there. You took a big chance. There was something you wanted very badly.
You're just building a sandcastle, Marlowe.
Really? The man was murdered. You had a gun. And I found something the police would love to have me hide from them. Because it must be as full of motive as the ocean is of salt. As long as the cops don't find it, I have a license. And as long as somebody else doesn't find it, I don't have an ice pick in the back of my neck. The question was, where to next?
All right. That didn't tell me much.
Nico Angel says, L.A. Noire, but for gays. How dare you? This is a great game.
Hey, L.A. Noire, except with actual investigation. And with dialogue. That's the main problem with modern noir, and L.A. Noire is no fucking exception. The dialogue is dreck compared to actual Chandler-esque dialogue.
And that's such... Think about that, too. All the great actors that were in L.A. Noire.
Yeah.
Like, some really old classic ones, too. It's like, God, what a wasted opportunity.
Totally, because the writing wasn't up to snuff. All modern noir writing just doesn't fucking get it. Let's get, I guess we gotta go confront Mr. Steelgrave.
I'd given the butler my card. I'd expected him to return and tell me where to wait, but instead Steelgrave himself came out to give me the glad hand. I told him that I was looking for a missing man.
I'm sorry I can't help you, but I've never seen this man.
I got a tip that Quest had frequented your club. I was hoping maybe you'd recognize him.
I see, but it could be your sources are wrong. I never forget a face. I've never seen him.
Maybe he didn't come to the club. He lived at 449 Idaho Street in Bay City. Maybe you know him from there. It's a dope house.
I don't mean to be abrupt, but I have several appointments to keep. I'd like to clear the air. I'm an entrepreneur with several companies. I own buildings, stock, undeveloped properties. I have nothing to do
A
with
natural
drugs.
villain for a modern film.
I resent your slander, Mr. Marlowe. If you persist in it, I'm sure my lawyer could find it actionable.
You'd sue me?
Something like that. But only as a last resort. Look, Marlowe, I'm sorry you came all the way out here.
Nicolas Cage is pissed.
Since I'm on my way out, I'll walk you to your car.
The question now was, should I stop in at my office and see what develops, or hit the streets?
Feels like there's probably more evidence to get.
Well, he did say he was on his way out.
Okay.
I'm just putting it out there.
Maybe
it's
his girl?
I don't know.
It's a shame. I don't know where this fucking club is. There it is!
The Dancers Club was fabled as a place where famous people come to be treated like ordinary people. It wasn't
With a
true,
really
but it
bad
made
frame
great
rate.
copy, and the fan magazines ate it up.
I recognize you. You're Marlowe. Philip Marlowe, isn't it?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Steelgrave.
I've heard it's a small world, but I didn't expect to see you here. What can I do for you?
I'm trying to locate a man by the name of Orrin P. Quest.
It doesn't ring a bell. Should it?
Maybe you've never met him, but you might know some of his friends. Lester Clausen, Mile Away Marsden, Dr. Vince.
Well, they sound like a colorful bunch, but I don't know them either. What made you think I would?
I keep looking for Quest, and I keep finding dancer club matches.
Ah, a clue. No one has to come to this club to get those matches. We give them to every newsstand at the train station and the airport. Promotes the club.
Then there's our mutual friend, the guy who just left your office. I found him at Quest's last known address.
Now that's interesting. Johnny, come on over. Johnny, Mr. Marlowe would like to know if you know a man named Quest.
I ain't never heard of him. What were you doing at 449 Idaho Street?
I ain't never been there. I guess you were mistaken, Marlowe. No harm done. Dominic, see Mr. Marlowe to his car.
So, Mr. Steelgrave wasn't going to cooperate. The question now was, where to next?
S-Serpent21 would like to know, any interest in reading the Bond books?
Some, I guess. I mean, they're kind of cool. I wish the new movies were a little more like them.
And Ketracel White says, nice state of affairs when a man has to indulge his vices by proxy. You're looking, sir, at a very Wait, fuck.
You all right?
Take your time.
This is a quote from The Big Sleep.
At a very dull survival. It's cut off here. I mean, you can read it if you like. Of a very gaudy life. That's probably a quote from something.
It's from The Big Sleep.
Oh, okay. Shadow Magician says, Razor, I
Tarangel's ongoing arch nemesis, the English language.
Hey, anytime you want to take the phone from me and read it. Shadow Magician says, hey, Razor, I mentioned that I got Omicron, and you said to get some patches for it before I play it. Which patches, and where would I find them?
Oh, shit. Would
the Nexus have them?
Probably not. There's a number of websites that have the patches. There's, I think it's the No CD patch is the main one that you need. I think it's the crack patch, and it kind of depends on which version you get. The GOG version might already have it, possibly, but you need more than that, because the game runs too fast, I believe, if you have a multi-core processor, which everyone does now, so that could be a problem. But yeah, I think that all comes in the proper crack patch, if I remember correctly. But yeah, there's a number of them that you need, but I think that's the main one. Could I have another chance to go after this fucking doctor? I feel like I got jack shit from him.
The doctor allowed me in again.
Oh.
This conversation wasn't much better than the last.
You've been drinking.
Only Chanel number 5.
Women can weaken a man terribly, can they not?
Clausen.
A hopeless alcoholic. They drink and drink and don't eat. Vitamin deficiency brings on delirium. There's only one thing for them to do. Needles and more needles. It makes me feel dirty. I am a graduate of the Sorbonne, but I practice among dirty little people in a dirty little town.
Why?
Because of something that happened years ago in another city. Don't ask me too much, Mr. Marlowe.
Then the cops coming here on account of Clausen doesn't bother you. You're just afraid of this other thing that happened somewhere else, long gone. Or it could even be love.
Love.
He dropped the word slowly off the end of his tongue. tasting it to the last. Not love, then. I'm trying to read your mind. Here you are, a guy with a Sorbonne degree and a cheap little practice in a cheap and nasty little town. So what are you doing here? What was the rap?
Why do you look like a Dick Tracy
Narcotics,
villain?
Abortions? Or were you by any chance a medic for the gang boys in Cleveland?
A very wild suggestion, my friend.
Once again, I was escorted out.
Referencing illegal abortions in California. What a world.
Nobody messes with Adam Wee says, I want to connect my Streamlabs and YouTube accounts, but the former wants to take control of the latter. In order to do that, is it something I should be worried about?
What are you talking about? It doesn't take control of it. It just, if you log in, I believe if you log into Streamlabs, you just have to use a YouTube account. You can log it out at any time. It doesn't take control of it.
Lucifer says, why are there no feminists in Japan? Because the Japanese hunt whales.
I thought it would be a dolphin joke, and yet here we are.
Metalhead Martyr says, Wisecrack made a video on the Prometheus and Alien Covenant movies. What's your take on the films? Am I the only MFer who actually liked them?
Alien Covenant was on the other night. I didn't catch all of it. What I saw was okay. I didn't hate it. That one gets a lot of hate. What I saw didn't offend me. So I'm not really sure what to make of that.
Oh, which one?
Covenant.
Oh, okay.
And Prometheus wasn't great, but it wasn't unwatchable, and it was pretty. It was a really gorgeous movie. I mean, name a Ridley Scott movie that's ugly.
True.
While I was busy deciding where to go, I had to remind myself that some people might come looking for me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
When the phone started ringing, I let it ring. I had had enough for one day. Could have been the Queen of Sheba with her cellophane pajamas on. Instinct was stronger than wariness.
Oh, Mr. Marlowe, I've been trying to get you for the longest time. I'm so upset. I'm...
Later.
But I tell you, I have to see you.
Uh-huh.
You kissed me.
I've kissed better since.
Oh!
I've heard from Oren.
You're a nice little liar. Goodbye.
But I really have. He called me on the telephone right here where I'm staying.
Fine. Then you don't need a detective after all. I couldn't even find out where you were staying.
I wrote to him where I'd be staying.
Uh-huh. Only he didn't get the letter because he had moved and he didn't leave any forwarding address. Remember? Goodbye, Miss Quest. And you don't have to tell me where you're staying. I'm not working for you.
Very well, Mr. Marlowe. I'm ready to call the police now, but I don't think you'll like it.
Why?
Because there's murder in it, Mr. Marlowe. And murder is a very nasty word, don't you think?
Come on up. I'll wait. There were 2 murders she could be referring to, and I was involved in both.
Yeah.
Obstruction of justice was the least of the crimes they could charge me with. I'd had enough of Miss Orphan Quest, and I was going to pour myself a drink and tell her so. She was a liar and a chiseler, but then the case was more tangled than I ever thought it would get, and I might still need to find out what was going on, if only to prove my own innocence.
Oh, shit. So the choices here are do your job or drunken rage.
I want to see both.
I know, so do I.
Are you able to, like, save and...
Oh, shit, no. No, I'm not. Show state. I wonder what that is. Oh, man. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, here we go. Okay, save. Save present game. Okay, investigate or drunken rage.
Drink it and hit her with the empty bottle.
Drink and then hit her with the notebook. Backhand her with the fucking electronic organizer there.
Well, the chat clearly makes its choice here. I'm gonna try to sneak a question in. Julian Peacock says, "Love how people whine about the skeleton."
The real question or the Dikey Latina one?
Love how people whine about the skeletons in Trump's closet. Like, sure, the man is no angel, but this opponent is the closest.
Well, it's just hilarious because, like, who in the fuck voted for Donald Trump thinking he was a fucking saint? Like, you've seen this man on television. People hate his... The previous to him becoming president, the biggest Trump-related story was him going back and forth calling Rosie O'Donnell a fat dyke cow. That's what he did before this. Are they under the impression that we believe he's pure as the driven snow? And this is the problem with Trump. He's essentially unassailable from this perspective. This is one of the reasons Cohen's entire testimony, like, vanished in less than 12 hours. It's because I think as much as the left tried to talk themselves into believing it was the kill shot, they had to drop it after a while because the general public weren't going for it. It just didn't matter.
And to finish, like, sure, the man is no angel, but his opponent is the closet full of skeletons.
Yeah, no shit. His opponent is Skeletor.
And if you couldn't guess what the chat chose...
Yeah.
Have fun.
Something involving Jim Beam? Let's consult our friend, oh my.
If you keep on that way, you won't be in any condition to listen to what I have to say.
About this murder, anybody I know? I can see you're not murdered. Yet.
Please, don't be unnecessarily horrid. Orrin did call me up, but he wouldn't tell me where he was or what he was doing.
Who was murdered? Or is that a secret, too?
That horrid man in the rooming house was murdered. Mr... I forgot his name.
Look, Orphan, I'm not asking you how you know all this. You found him. That's what you wanted me to do.
It's not the same thing. I haven't actually found him. He wouldn't tell me anything, really.
Just about murders. Trifles like that.
I just said that to scare you. I thought you wouldn't help me anymore. And well, I just made it up. Are you mad at me?
I ought to slap your face off. And quit acting innocent, or it might not be your face I slap.
Yes!
Why, how dare you?
Shut up and get the hell out of here. You think I enjoy being dared to death? Oh, and take back your $20.
Chad Marlowe! Oh no.
I was hell with women lately.
Oh no.
You will find Orrin for me, won't you? It was all a lie. He didn't call me up. I don't know anything. Take my glasses off, Philip. I don't mind if you take a little whiskey once in a while.
I was afraid to take her glasses off. I might have socked her on the nose. Yes, I'll find him for you, honey. I only ask one thing. Who was the black sheep in your family? You said Orrin wasn't the black sheep in your family, remember? And when you mentioned your sister Layla, you sort of passed on quickly as if the subject was distasteful.
I don't remember saying anything like that.
So I was wondering, what name does your sister use in pictures?
All you think about is liquor and women. I hate you!
Well, that probably could have gone better.
I think you got a lot out of that.
I did. Do we want to stick with that choice, or do we want to see the other one?
We'll let the chat decide.
Yeah, where's the family photo again?
Marky says, did you ever see it? Did you ever see It Might Get Loud? If so, thoughts?
It Might Get Loud? I've never heard of it. Is that a movie?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, let's see here. I betcha he is in the mood for some more whiskey. I betcha.
Guys,
There was
body
no doubt
bag
that
is not
Mavis
an
Wells
option.
was being blackmailed, but the photos were a better weapon against Steelgrave. The photos could put him behind bars, so he'd be sure and pay for them. If he didn't kill you for them, maybe Mavis was a better target. She was less likely to kill, wasn't she? And she was willing to pay the price to keep her career on track. But she couldn't pay as much as Steelgrave could. Was the blackmailer motivated by something more than greed? Was the blackmailer concentrating his effort on Mavis because he enjoyed hurting Mavis?
I have not had occasion to use the revolver once.
True, but
the question was,
better to have it than
where to next?
Not to.
Indeed. I'm wondering if the cops catch up to you and you have it, if you're fucked. That's my thought. I'm thinking either Dolores Gonzalez's apartment or Mavis's. Unless there's a new location that I'm not aware of.
White Wolf says, Razor and Company, pitch your own mech movies, please.
Sure. Dude, this is what I've never understood. Battletech has such a background. You could literally make any kind of movie. You could make a generic action movie with mechs and just have the backdrop of the Battletech universe, and it would be awesome.
Yeah, there's any number of stories.
Yeah, just a story about a mercenary company. Simple revenge tale. And then the background is just the Battletech universe. Boom, it writes itself.
I want to know about bears and rabbits. What are they? I want to know about ghost bears and rabbits.
All right. I'm thinking Gonzalez or Mavis. That's what I'm thinking. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What? Mavis, Navy, Crestview Courts. Good old Spanish villas.
The door hadn't been locked.
Uh-oh.
Securely. So I let myself in.
What's this? Uh-oh. What's this?
It's already time to leave. Fuck.
Whew, that was close. That was one close shave, ladies and gentlemen, but I did get the envelope. It matches. It matches. So I think next we should probably go to Chico Gonzalez's apartment.
The door hadn't been locked.
Uh-oh.
Securely. So I let myself in.
Well, there's a steel grave photo here. So he's two-timing.
God damn.
Ooh! No!
Driven me to the station where detectives French and Bayfield.
Oh, shit. God, they're not fucking around.
Crime, Marlowe.
You guys know I'm not a burglar. I'm working on a case.
He's working on a case, which explains it. The law doesn't apply to him.
You private investigators are a piece of work, you know that? Look, Sherlock, the law applies to everybody. If we catch you where you don't belong with another one of your non-excuses, we'll book you.
He means it, Marlowe.
The question now was, should I stop in at my office and see what develops, or hit the streets?
Ugh.
And I use it myself, and you can believe me, it works.
Hello, amigo.
Oh my.
I waited a long time. I could not reach you.
The accent's a bit thick this evening.
I'm not in an amusing mood.
You don't have to amuse me. I amuse myself. You always wear black?
But yes. It is more exciting when I take my clothes off.
Do you ever think of anything but one thing?
This is how I catch fools, amigo. Some fools are useful and generous. Occasionally, one is dangerous.
I know who he is. I probably can't prove it. The cops couldn't.
They do not always prove all they can prove. I suppose you know he was in jail for 10 days last February?
Yes.
He was my boyfriend also.
Curious. I could offer her a chair and find out what she thought was important enough to bring her here. Or I could concentrate on learning more about the lady herself. Was she an innocent bystander or one of the major players?
I think I'll listen to what she has to say.
Believe it or not, Miss Gonzalez, I'm not interested in your love life. I assume it covers a wide field, all the way from Stein to Steelgrave.
Stein? Who is Stein?
A Cleveland hotshot got himself gunned in front of your apartment house last
Begone,
Saturday.
thought!
And you were looking out of the window and saw it happen. And darned if the killer was an old man Steelgrave.
But Steelgrave was in jail. And even if he was not in jail, even if, for example, I happened to be friendly with a certain Dr. Chalmers who was county jail physician at the time, and he told me in an intimate moment that he had given Steelgrave a pass to go to the dentist on the very day Stein was shot, even if this happened to be true, would it not be a very poor way to use the information by blackmailing Steelgrave? It is enough that Mavis Wells is a close friend of a known gangster. Mavis has started the crime, and nothing will stop her, except possibly a bad scandal.
We'd have to prove Steelgrave was a known gangster. We can't. And even if we could, what's he doing all the time we're putting the bite on Weld?
Does he have to know? I hardly think she would tell him. But that would not matter to us if we had our proof.
I might happen to be under some obligation to Miss Weld. Ever think of that? And if that was so, don't you think it was about time you got out of my office? I scooped the envelope from the bag before she could change direction.
Nice!
She made a spitting sound.
Hello.
Where'd you get this?
In Mavis Wells' dressing room. Give it back to me. If you do not...
I'll give it back to Miss Weld.
Very well. It is my mistake. You shabby little office.
Mistake.
You ought to tell me what sort of idiot you are.
It does.
You stupid idiot!
The way she went out hadn't been learned in business college.
That, my friends, is film noir dialogue. That is what is missing from neo-noir.
Let's do a few of these. Wiggles says, you can say what you want about the upper Midwest, but the brutal winters do a great job for thinning out the hobo population. Oh, that's awful.
That is true, though.
Well, the brutal winters also discourage people from getting air conditioners, so the summers kill people off, too.
White Wolf says, chances of a Titanfall 2 stream, lady and gents.
I don't own it. I don't care.
Crusader Saracen says...
I mean, what am I going to get it on Origin?
That's funny.
That's a good one.
Crusader Saracen says, also, this will make you guys happy. One of our planned productions is a black and white with select alphas of color. Condé Nast inspired the Shadow animated cartoon.
Condé Nast the Shadow. Wait, what? Whose production?
One of our planned productions. So I guess it's something he's involved with?
I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
Get good voice actors, because I've never heard a single good Shadow voice actor on a recreation of a radio show ever.
Buford T. Justice says, L.A. Confidential, film noir, or a pretentious 90s cash grab?
What was it?
L.A. Noir.
Oh.
Film noir or a pretentious 90s cash grab?
90s? L.A. Noir was from 2011. What the hell are you talking about? L.A. Noir is really...
Oh, I'm sorry.
L.A. Confidential?
L.A. Confidential, sorry.
L.A. Confidential was not intended to be film noir. It really wasn't. They tried to just make sort of a crime movie. Which is weird because it's based on a James Ellroy book, which is, like, James Ellroy describes himself as kind of noir. So kind of weird. They kind of tried to make a procedural cop flick based off that. But in setting it in period and giving the cinematography duties to a guy who liked noir, it just kind of naturally arced that way. The interesting fact about LA Confidential, and I think this is actually one of the reasons, I'm going to do a video about this eventually. I'm going to do a Film Noircade special, because I get this question all the time. Why did film noir die? You know, why doesn't it exist now? And one of the reasons why is, you know, LA Confidential was made by Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers is one of the primary owners of all the classic film noir, right? They bought up a lot of the catalogs. They bought RKO movies. They even bought a few, like, Universal movies and stuff, Paramount movies. So they own a huge catalog of film noir. Pretty much Warner Brothers are film noir for all intents and purposes today. When LA Confidential came out, the filmmaker was like, hey, I kind of want to make a modern noir. I want to, you know, it's sort of this. We're going to try and make it more of a crime movie, but it's going to be set in the 40s or whatever. Warner Brothers was like, we're not going to make a film noir. Film noir doesn't sell. We refuse. These guys they are the custodians, essentially, of noir, and they refuse to make LA Confidential. So finally, the director was like, you know what, fuck it. I'll go find someone else to fund it. Will you guys just distribute it? And they were like, okay, fine. Go find somebody else. So they got some French guy to bankroll the whole goddamn movie. Warner Brothers took no risk. And then when LA Confidential came out and was a hit, Warner Brothers printed money for essentially doing nothing except distributing the movie. and basically they didn't follow it up with anything. There was no other noir that came out at the time. So if the primary company that is the custodian of noir, that are really like the gatekeepers of the genre, if they refuse to take a risk on one, how the fuck is anyone else going to make one? That's really what's going on with film noir right now, is the studios hate it and refuse to make it. And that's kind of where we're at right now. It really sucks.
Nothing in Hollywood is real, least of all the people.
No shit.
They lose track of where their public persona leaves off and their real selves take over.
No
Dolores
shit.
Gonzalez was the perfect example. Was she the most passionate creature alive, on screen or off? Or was she just acting all the time, even in her private life? Could she be friends with the woman who had taken her boyfriend away from her? Could a woman of real fire and passion stand for that? Or had she just pretended to be a friend so that when the time came, she'd be in a position close enough to destroy her rival? What else would she be willing to do besides blackmail? What did she really want?
Phonies in Hollywood? Are you sure, Marlowe? Are you sure?
Rui Vasquez says, this is too much Razor for 1 week. Have you finally quit your job at Walmart and decided to get serious about this YouTube thing?
I can't even walk into a Walmart, never mind work at one.
He really can.
I really, really hate Walmart.
He always prefers Target.
Target's just Walmart for white people. I mean, what?
Basically.
Fat Taku says, Doc, you gotta help me. It burns when I sleuth.
I wonder if there's anything else to get from here. I haven't gone back since.
No one was there. I forced the door open and went in.
Oh, damn it. I don't think I left anything behind, really. Nothing pertinent, anyway.
And the cops would have taken everything anyway, right?
No shit.
I could take it or I could leave it there for the police to find.
No.
I left it there for the police to find.
Oh my god. Yeah, you better leave now.
Fucking grease lightning over here.
S Serpent 21 would like to know, which Bond movie have you liked the least?
The least? I thought Thunderball was good. I hated that underwater fight shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awful. And it dragged. I do have to say, one of the big flaws in all the Bond movies is every single one has been too long so far. Every single one should have had like at least 15, 20 minutes cut out of it. They're all way too long. These are fucking based on pulp novels. What the hell, guys? Like, let's cut these down just a smidge. I wouldn't say Thunderball is my least favorite, though. I'm trying to think. I've liked pretty much all of them. What was the one? Diamonds Are Forever was kind of forgettable.
Really?
No, not Diamonds Are Forever. What are you? For Your Eyes Only was a little forgettable.
Yeah.
That was a little forgettable so far.
And honestly, as classic as it is, I found Dr. No to be a bit slow.
Well, it was the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfair to judge it, but...
I mean, there was no real mold for what it was. There had only been one prior attempt at a Bond film, and it was like a TV movie, so... Let's try Dancer's Club, maybe. Or I could try at Mavis again.
Who is your daddy? The club was quiet.
Wait.
What does he do? No one was lying in wait to corral their next producer or making an entrance into the room.
Hello, Marlowe. Care for a seat? To what do I owe the pleasure of your company? Again.
We didn't get much of a chance to talk before. I thought of some other questions I'd like to ask. You're not a native Californian, are you, Mr. Steelgrave? Not that anyone is these days. I could ask you how
what a
business
generic
is,
rich
if
guy
you live
evil
Cleveland,
name.
Or where you were the night Sonny Mo Stein was shot to death. Interesting as all that is, I've been hired to do only one thing. Find Orin P. Quest.
As I've told you, I don't know the man and I don't know where he is. You're an interesting man, Marlowe. If I ever need a detective, I may hire you. You're tough, you're resourceful, you're intelligent. But it remains to be seen if you have common sense. A few phone calls could put you out of business. It doesn't take much to get your license suspended.
That sounds familiar.
A few tips to the police regarding your whereabouts during 2 brutal ice pick murders could cause you a problem. Dominic!
Oh boy.
Leave me alone, Marlowe. Back off. Accidents can happen. You don't want to become a statistic, do you? Dominic, this is Mr. Marlowe.
I feel like I saw this scene in Murphy's Law.
Our club. He won't be coming back. Escort Mr. Marlowe to his car.
Dominic had grinned while he twisted my arm and escorted me to my car. He whispered in my ear that he enjoyed his work, and the boss had promised him that if I showed up again, he could work on me. The gas gauge was far from empty, and the question now was, where to next?
All right. Okay, I think probably Gonzo there or Mavis Weld. Or with Steelgrave out of his mansion, do you think I could
maybe
pick around there?
Joss Rickett says, "Oh, nice, classic point-and-click adventure game. I'm sad that they went out of fashion. Guess
No one
people
answered the
just
door
heard
when I
pixel
rang,
hunting and stopped
but it
thinking."
wasn't locked, so I let myself in.
Oh, yes.
The boss thought you might show up.
Uh-oh.
What is he, psychic?
I'm going to tell you something about how the world works. Money and power can fix things. A few words to the right people, a few phone calls.
I'm stupid today. You're going to have to spell it out for me.
Okay, bright boy. I'll give it to you straight. You've been present at the scene of 2 murders, but you haven't told the police that. You've got evidence that belongs to them. You might be an accessory after the fact. Maybe you're the murderer. What if someone was to leave incriminating evidence in your office and call the police to come find it? All they need is a tip. Back off, Marlowe. Drop the case.
Step off, George.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, and where there are threats, there's pay dirt. The question now was, where to next?
Well, that doesn't help me much. Steelgrave's mansion's a fucking dead end. I've been to Mavis's a few times.
What if you go back to your office?
I mean, I was just there.
Didn't they threaten to plant evidence, though?
Yeah, maybe.
Dolores Gonzalez had decided to pay me a surprise visit.
What?
We chatted for a while before she got around to one of her favorite subjects, Mavis Weld. If you hate her that much, why don't you kill her?
I'm jealous of her for many reasons.
This is really interesting, though.
Besides, living in fear
how the game handles your different
even
actions.
That is tolerable. That is not the worst life has to offer.
And what is the worst?
Living without love.
Subtle.
Kiss me, amigo. I forgot. You prefer always to do the difficult thing.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that was it.
I guess.
Let's see. Jake Downey says, hardest part about eating vegetables? The wheelchair. An oldie but a goodie.
Right.
Felix Wolf says, what do you call a quadruple
Well, now, I knew who the
amputee
mystery man
lying
in
at
the
your
photo
front
was.
door?
It was Mr. Steelgrave, a wealthy entrepreneur who owned the Dancers Club. The cops had said that they knew about ice pick murderers. That one of the worst, a man called Sonny Mo Stein, had been killed not long ago in L.A.
Huh.
Stein had been shot to death. and the man that the police thought was most likely to have committed the murder was named Weepy Moyer. Moyer had the perfect alibi. He was in jail at the time of the murder. Even better than that, the cops couldn't prove that the man in jail was Weepy Moyer. They had to release Mr. Steelgrave, as he called himself. Sonny Moe Stein was shot to death on February 3rd, 1946. The same day Mr. Steelgrave was in jail. The same day he was out of jail, meeting Mavis Weld at the Dancers Club. This photo ruins his perfect alibi. He wasn't in jail on February 3rd. He was out of jail, and that meant he could have killed Moe Stein.
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Yep. February 3rd, 1946.
Sounds like the most prudent thing right now would be just to hand the photo over to the
No
cops.
shit! Shouldn't that be like an option here? What if calling again might get me?
Lucifer says, why do feminists call it PMS? Because mad cow disease was already taken.
Oh, I see how it is.
Thy Raven Wings would like to know if either of us plays the Persona games.
No.
That would be a no.
I guess I've gotten all I can from those phone numbers.
Joss Ricketts says, playing Phantom...
This time I really mean it. I lied before. I'm not lying now. I really have heard from Oren. Please, this is very serious. He went to the post office and asked for his mail. He knew where I'd be staying and called me from Bay City. He's staying with a doctor he got to know down there. He's afraid to leave the house.
Interesting.
Please go down there and see if you can help him. Oren's in a lot of trouble. Some gangsters are after him. Please go down there and see him and help him. I'm not lying, Philip. They might kill him.
Something tells me Oren's already got an ice pick in the neck.
Yeah, no shit. Or a letter opener.
I would save. Or not.
You can save at any time.
The doctor was in. He agreed to talk to me about the case.
I don't know anyone named Oren Quest, Mr. Marlowe. I can't imagine any reason in the world why a person of that name would say he was in my house.
Hiding out.
From what?
From some guys that might want to stick an ice pick in the back of his neck.
It was you who sent the police here, wasn't it? It was you who called up and asked if I knew Clausen. I said I did not.
Yeah, I know you did. I didn't quite believe you.
The police have been here, Mr. Marlowe. A certain Lieutenant Maglashan. Shall I call him?
That is not a name.
I could confront him with how much I knew, show him how far he was implicated, or I could play my cards closer to my chest, try to get him to let something slip.
That's a tough one. And it seems like a really important choice, too.
It does. I'm really not sure what to do there. Save present game, yes. Okay. I'm gonna force the issue.
Go ahead, call him. Both of us are going to be in the clink before nightfall anyway. You, because Clausen knew you by your first name, and you may have been the last man he talked to. Me, because I've been doing all the things a PI never gets away with. Hiding evidence, hiding information. Oh, I'm through. But there's a wild perfume in the air this afternoon. I don't seem to care, or I'm in love.
Not of the slightest interest to me.
Okay, I'll tie you in on it now. You knew Clausen, professionally, you said. And if you knew Clausen, you could have known some of his rumors. You knew Hicks or Oren Quest or both. Somebody had to mastermind this deal, Doctor. You couldn't go up against the ex-Cleveland gangster. Let's give him his name. Steelgrave. You couldn't go up against Steelgrave directly. You had to work through pawns, expendable pawns.
Mr. Marlowe, you are an unmitigated idiot.
Added to all the rest, Oren's sister calls me up and tells me he is in your house. There are a lot of weak arguments, I admit, but they do seem to sort of focus on you and I felt a tightness in my chest.
Oh,
My
God.
mind had slowed to a turtle gallop. What's going on here? Been dumb, haven't
As
I?
he falls asleep, he hears the distant sound.
Zip,
zoobity doo bop! The pudding pop! Rudy! Rudy!
My eyelids were as hard to lift as a dead elephant. How long had I been out? The room was just Dr. Lagarde's consulting room. Same floor, same desk, same walls, same letter opener shaped like a woman, but no Lagarde. The moment I was aware that steps were coming down the hall.
This will go badly. Yeah!
Something clattered to the floor. I knew it was an ice pick. I'd found Oren P. Quest. I'd left an ugly round bullet hole in his left thigh. That hadn't killed him. There were 2 shots to his back. Those had. How much time did I have before the police would show up?
That's a neat little frame.
Work quickly.
What do we have here? Anything? Shit. Nothing?
Time to leave.
God, how could I get nothing?
Get out of there.
I'd been
Shit.
downtown before,
Well, I did save.
but not with cuffs on.
I did save.
I was being charged with the murder of Oren P. Quest.
Oh, Christ.
You got anything to say?
I didn't kill him.
We got witnesses that were you at the scene. We've got your gun that fired the shots into Quest. We've got the testimony of the victim's sister. We've searched your office.
They had enough to arrest me. Maybe I wouldn't be convicted of murder, but it was certain that enough information would surface during the trial
Ooh.
to lose my PI license, and Oren P. Quest's killer would probably get away with murder. I hadn't solved the case, but as far as my involvement went, it was closed.
Ooh. Okay. Well, that's not a great ending.
Which version of the game you want to play?
Let's try that again. Let's try not being retarded.
Joss Ricketts says real quick, playing Phantom Doctrine now, Cold War XCOM-like, made my agent wear suit and the hat and gave him a revolver. Cool.
Nice. Okay, let's try this again. Let's, Well, I mean, I could make the same choice. I just need to get the fuck out of there quicker. It's basically the long and short of it. Let's do it.
Got my eyelids.
Okay. All right. Let's not suck this time.
I could take
Holy
it, or I could
crap.
leave it for the cop left to where it was. There were other places to go and people to interview. There might even be people waiting for me in my office. Where should I go next?
Yeah, people in blue uniforms. So the question is, did she fucking set me up for the frame? She was the one to tip it off. I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think I'm going to head back to my office.
Amigo, there is trouble. Bad trouble. Mavis wants to see you. She likes you. She thinks you are an honest man.
Why didn't Miss Weld call me herself?
Well, she couldn't. She did not have the number, and there seemed to be very little time. Are you bitter tonight, amigo?
I've got a few troubles. What kind of trouble is Miss Weld in?
I do not know. She just said it was trouble, and she was much afraid, and she needed you.
You ought to be able to think up a better story than that.
I would not hurt a hair on Mavis Weld's head. I do not quite expect that you would believe me, but she's at Steelgrave's mansion. Come now, I will meet you there.
Something stinks, Miss Gonzalez, and it isn't wild lilac.
Get any more? Yeah. Okay. You can probably ask another whatnot.
Let's see. Jake Downey says, saw some faux porn yesterday. Best acting ever.
What the hell are you talking about?
Nobody messes with Adam Wee says, what would it take for Eve to punch Taryn live?
All your shekels.
Joss Ricketts says, will you play a Tex Murphy game on stream?
I have one. I have Under a Killing Moon, I believe. That'd be a cool game to play.
I think
Pete West was dead. Shot in the back twice.
Right.
Shot while he stood behind a door preparing to kill me with an ice.
Whoop. Or he could shut up right there. That's fine. Continue.
I was going to say that I think a few of them were free on GOG at some point, weren't they?
I don't know. I know they've been very, very cheap at different times. I think I got Under a Killing Moon when it was like $2 or something.
Defending Angel says...
The question was, where to next?
Playing Battletech as I watch this. I hope they...
Boy! Oh, sorry, he's being interrupted by a plot device.
Hello? Philip Marlowe? This is Desk Sergeant Duggan. Detective French would like to speak to you.
Ruh-roh.
Marlowe, we'd like to see you down at headquarters.
Oh, dear.
You don't have to tell me anything. I went down there. I just had a feeling, he being my brother-in-law. I rang the bell and nobody answered the door. That seemed funny. Maybe I'm a psychic or something. So I called the police. I lied. I told them I heard shots. You left him lying on the floor, dead. You had to, I guess. I don't care what they do to you. If they put you in prison, I think I would like that.
Okay. So it's like that.
So she admits she was there.
Yep. Sounding a little more like a frame all the time.
Continuing. Playing Battletech as I watch this. I hope they add the Bushwhacker to the game.
I hope so too.
The door hadn't been locked securely, so I let myself in.
It's my favorite medium mech and reminds me of Mech Warrior 3. Today is also my birthday. I'm 26. Oh.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Gotta keep an ear out for the police.
Oh.
There you go.
I got arrested so many times the first time we played this.
Yeah.
I got arrested a lot.
Stealth Creation says, so Trump is talking about championing college free speech. Chase Bank talks about locking conservatives out of services.
Yeah, how are we spinning this that Trump is the great evil in the fucking world?
2020 can't come sooner.
Oh my god.
It's going to be amusing to say the least.
A shit show.
It's a shame some of this stuff can't be saved for a few days before the election. Of course, with the way Democrats are dry humping the fucking early voting and using it for sweeping voter fraud, who knows if that'll matter. But, shall I go down and talk to the police? I imagine I will be slapped in fucking irons immediately.
I would save.
That's kind of my thought on that one.
Is there anywhere else you can go before you go down there?
Let's go game 2. Alright. Said that, What's-Her-Schnoz wanted to talk to me. And yet, when I go to her house, she's not there, and I can't go to the studios.
What about Dolores?
Whoops. Go on. Nothing at the hotel. Nothing interesting there. Maybe at the club?
I don't think you can get back in.
That's right. So I guess I have to talk to
Breaking and entering is only a crime if you get caught. I picked the lock and let myself in.
Well, that doesn't help. Shit, where the fuck does she want to meet me then?
James Bursey says, doing Razor Fest 2019 fan meetup? Question mark.
I don't do fests. I'm not festive. I guess I just have to talk to the cops, or maybe go back to my place and she'll meet me there. I'll check out my place first, and then if there's nobody there, I'll go to the goddamn cops.
Looks like somebody let themselves in without a key. Those mob boys must have been serious after all.
Oh, they're swiping my evidence. What do you want to bet some of that evidence will wind up at a crime scene?
I could probably,
Yeah.
Let's see. Tyler Preston says...
The question was, where
they
to
were
next?
at your place.
Uh-huh. Well, shit. This could be going better.
Tyler Preston says, Razor, do you have a plan on going on a stream with Comics Gate?
What about Comics Gate?
He's just asking.
I don't know. What? With who? Ethan Van Sciver?
I don't know.
I'd be glad to. I'm a huge fan of Ethan Van Sciver. Before I knew anything about his politics, I was a big fan of his. Let's see.
The place was crawling with cops.
Oh my.
I got the story from a homicide detective. Mavis Weld was found at the scene with the dead body of Mr. Steelgrave.
Oh my.
She confessed to killing him. She still had the murder weapon. It was an open and shut case. She was behind bars and would stay there for a long, long time. I guess you could say the case was over. Orrin P. Quest had been found. Ballou had called to tell me that my services for Mavis Weld were no longer needed. Mavis Weld had been arrested for murdering Steelgrave. Her career, probably her life, was over. At times like these, when the game hasn't played out the way I wanted, I know there's only one more choice to make. You could keep playing and find out who did what, when, and why. Perfect choice if you want to see how this thing ends. But if you're the type who likes to figure things out before you find them out, and you think you'd like to give that a try, you can quit this game and start a new one. Your choice.
What the
Interesting.
What the fuck? So you can keep playing even though the criminal is behind bars?
I mean, I have a theory, but I don't want to accidentally...
I wonder where what the fuck? Where would I even go to find more? The police station, I guess? Well,
Maybe.
I mean, now it's harmless.
Well, nice of you to join us, Marlowe. Hope we didn't call at an inconvenient time.
We know you've been very busy. We're keeping an eye on you.
Now, if you're in the mood, you could start at the beginning and give us all the stuff you left out yesterday. Don't try to sort it out, just let it flow natural.
And this statement is to be voluntary without coercion?
Some guys are more voluntary than others.
This is Lieutenant Moses McGlashan of the Bay City Police
There he is!
He don't like you any better than we do.
Nice pencil mustache.
So you're the sweetheart that phoned in about crossing. You're right handy with a payphone, ain't you, sweetheart? When I ask a question, I get answered. I'm talking to you, sweetheart.
What makes you Bay City cops so tough? You pickle your nuts in salt water or something?
I came down here to get some cooperation.
You'll get cooperation.
Just don't try to steal the scene with that 1930 dialogue.
Ask the questions. If you don't like the answers, you can book me. If you book me, I get to make a phone call.
If we book you. But we don't have to. We can ride the circuit with you. Strictly speaking, it wouldn't be legal like you do a few things which you hadn't ought to do. Would you say you were legal in this picture?
No.
Ha! You got a client to protect?
Maybe.
You mean you did have a client? She ratted on you.
Name's Zorfa Quest. It's time you talk to us, Marlowe. Don't you think?
Oh, she framed the
I
fuck
was in
out
a
of you.
tough spot. I didn't have many choices. I could tell the cops just the facts as I knew them without incriminating myself. Or I could try to deliberately mislead them just enough so that the subject of the photos and blackmail and Mavis Weld never entered the picture.
Fuck it. I mean, the photo does implicate Steelgraves, so I mean,
tell them everything.
If it gets what gets them off of your back, that's the main question.
Chances are, but who knows? If you spill the beans, they could already have contradictory testimony from what's her slatch, and you'll be fucked. I'm thinking I'm gonna bullshit. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna save first, but then I'm gonna bullshit.
While you're saving,
Yeah.
Camino Uni says, would Razor ever appear on Every Frame a Pause with Mauler, Rags, and Wolf? Also,
I don't know what that is.
Would want to discuss Aliens with Razor sometime. Huh. Yeah, I'm not familiar. Is that like a podcast or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really doing a lot of podcasts. There's a million of them, and I'm not big on I'll do them here and there if I feel like it, but let's see here. Trying to start my own.
Your ideas about all this, Marlowe.
Among other things, Clausen was probably pushing reefers. But he was liquored to a point where you wouldn't want to trust him anymore.
Suppose it was so. What's it got to do with Quest?
Suppose Quest tried to put the bite on somebody and threatened to go to the police. Quite possibly all 3 murders are connected with his reefer gang.
That don't jibe with Quest having the ice pick.
They might be standard equipment around Doc Lagarde's house. Got anything on him?
Not so far. What do you make of him?
He didn't kill me. Probably he didn't kill anybody. He used to practice in Cleveland. He must have had his reasons for hiding out in Bay City.
Probably an abortionist. I've had my eye on him for some time.
Probably the one he didn't have on Idaho Street.
You boys think you're
An
so
abortionist
goddamn
with an ice
smart.
pick fixation.
Just the same, I like that reaper angle. It might cut down my work considerable. I'm looking into it right now.
If you were guessing, Marlowe, what would you guess they were looking for in that room at the Van Nuys?
A claim check for a suitcase full of weed. When I talked to Hicks down in Bay City, he wasn't wearing his muff. But he was wearing it on the bed at the Van Nuys. Wouldn't be a bad place to stash a claim check.
Quite an idea. How came Dr. Lagarde to mention Cleveland to you?
I took the trouble to look him up. A doctor can't change his name if he wants to go on practicing. The ice pick makes you think of Weepy Moyer. Weepy Moyer operated in Cleveland. Sonny Mo Stein operated in Cleveland. And always with these gangs, there's a doctor in the
And
background.
Steelgrave is from Cleveland.
Connection.
Would I do myself any good if I tried to tighten it up?
Let's break this off. Go out and square things up. McGlashan brought you a rain check. Use it.
Would it be all right if I don't leave town? The cops ran a check on my gun permit. It was out of date.
Oh.
They said. They confiscated my gun.
Son of a...
I filed the corrected permit papers. It would be weeks before I got my gun back.
Oh, even in 40s Los Angeles. What Second Amendment?
Mr. Philip Marlowe, this is Miss Hutchins of the District Attorney's Office. Your presence is required immediately in the DA's office.
Yikes.
In connection with the murder of Mr. Charles Steelgrave. The DA is expecting you.
Oh, shit. This is going well.
Interesting. Cypher Ace says, Ridley Scott is kind of a hack who lucks into awesome films, but has no idea why people like them.
Hold on. Let's analyze the idiocy of that statement. Lucks into awesome films, plural. Okay. Chris Nolan lucked into one awesome film. Okay? That's called lucking into a good film. Ridley Scott lucking into several is clearly intentional. Here's the thing. Morons don't understand that directors don't generally write their movies. If Ridley Scott's a good director, that's not necessarily going to be reflected in a good script, right? Prometheus had a really bad script. Covenant, depending on who you ask, I haven't seen it from beginning to end, so I can't really opine, had a bad script. I'm trying to think of Robin Hood had a terrible script, right? But if you hook Ridley Scott up with someone who can actually write a goddamn movie, you get Blade Runner, you get Legend, the fucking director's cut of Legend, you get Someone to Watch Over Me, you get Gladiator, you get The Martian.
Kingdom of Heaven.
The Kingdom of Heaven director's cut is a fucking awesome movie. I mean, the guy, he's made a lot of good movies. Let's
He continues.
Let's take the 4chan narrative back to fucking 4chan, shall we? The fucking TV board.
Like trying to make Deckard a replicant when the author
That
was
is
like,
stupid.
No.
I agree with that. I agree that was stupid.
And Trago says, Terran, make the Discord. The fatwa is still on you.
Okay. DA's well, let's go to the DA's office. Let's see what the fuck.
Miss Weld, I have your statement here. You claim responsibility for the shooting and death of Mr. Steelgrave. Am I to believe that you will plead guilty at the hearing?
My client signed that statement under duress, Mr. Endicott. A plea of not guilty will be...
Yes, I'm pleading guilty. The court could appoint a new attorney for me, couldn't it, Mr. Endicott?
If that's what you wanted.
That won't be necessary, Miss Weld.
Very well. I expect to see you at the hearing this afternoon on the matter of Mr. Steelgrave's murder.
I don't think that'd be a good idea.
I suppose things don't look too good for her.
She claims she shot him. The evidence at the scene agrees with her.
What was the motive?
Love turned to hate. She killed her boyfriend because he killed her brother. Her brother was blackmailing them. But we're here to talk about you. You're in a bad spot, Marlowe. You've been caught suppressing evidence helpful to the solution of a murder. That is obstructing justice.
I was protecting a client.
Since you've agreed to cooperate with our ongoing investigations, you might not get indicted. I don't have the authority to yank your license, Marlowe, but I'm 100% certain the commission will.
You're yanking
stay out of
something.
jail, but you're through in this town.
I went back to the office and unlocked the door and sniffed the twice-breathed air. I was just talking to the office equipment, the threadbare piece of carpet, and the light fixture in the ceiling with the 3 dead moths. I was talking to the pebbled glass panel and the grimy woodwork and the tired telephone. I was talking to the scales of an alligator, the name of the alligator being Marlowe. Not the brainiest guy in the world, but cheap. Started out cheap and he ended cheaper still.
I think we have hit peak Raymond Chandler here.
My life is a complex pastiche. Donates 20. Thank you very much. I couldn't think of a shitty pun during my shift tonight, sadly. I guess I'll just ask the question on all of our minds. Does Vic, pronounced Mignana? Oh, that's how you pronounce that. Mignana? Does Vic Mignogna like Sabaton? Godspeed.
I don't know. Does that have any bearing on whether or not he can be within 50 yards of a fucking playground anymore?
Steelgrave had been killed by a single shot to the heart from a .32 caliber handgun. The same kind of gun that killed Orrin Quest. What I wanted to know was what had happened at Steelgrave's mansion before I arrived to find him dead. Mavis said she called Dolores after she told Steelgrave she was being blackmailed and showed him the photos. She said she never told Steelgrave it was her brother.
Fuck!
Why are the cops after you?
You
were just there.
I was just there. The hell? Maybe go by Steelgrave's mansion now that everybody's bugged out? That's all I can think to do.
The door hadn't been locked securely, so I let myself in.
Ethan Long says, with all the controversy surrounding the Captain Marvel movie, what are the chances it bombs at the box office? My bet it is that it slightly underperforms.
Yeah, my bet is it just won't do as well as some of the others. That's all.
The question was, where to next?
Yeesh. Yeah, I actually kind of said that to begin with, and honestly, I don't think it has as much to do with the controversy as some people think. I really think it has more to do with the fact that Captain Marvel's just not that popular of a character, and there's other comic book movies that are coming out, and it's 2019, folks. This trend has been going on over 10 years. We're gonna be heading down the other side of the mountain here on the superhero trend. You're already seeing certain superhero movies not do as well as they were projected. In fact, they've already modified. I think the original opening weekend projection for Captain Marvel was 100 million. They've dropped that now to 60 million or something.
Oh.
So, they're already adjusting their expectations.
Did you want me to try to finish these up?
Yeah, go ahead and try and finish them up. I don't know where else I can go here.
Thomas Meadow says, I jerked off to AOC for 2 hours
was
today.
Around.
That's nice to know.
I picked the lock and let myself in.
Wow. Well, it's good to talk with a member of the media.
Wow, that's fast.
Greased lightning. What
I refuse
is
to
this?
believe the cops have ever been that fast.
No shit.
Uzi Patrol says, favorite Bond song so far? Ooh, good question.
Probably Thunderball.
Thunderball.
Yeah, we could do without that. Let's not.
I'll keep going.
Let's go ahead and pump the brakes on that one.
Diamonds Are Forever's pretty good.
The original the Alice Cooper version of Man with a Golden Gun that should have been in the movie.
Oh, I haven't heard that version.
What the hell was that? He's Alice Cooper's a huge James Bond fan, and he wrote that. He was all psyched for it to be in the movie, and then they wound up going with the other version. I forget what the other version was. Crap is what it was.
Josh Phillips says, for your eyes only, best Bond movie
I'd come
ever.
back to ask Baloo a few more questions about Mavis. He'd poured us some of his expensive brandy. He winced when I gulped it down instead of sipping.
Mr. Marlowe, how can I help you?
I was wondering if you could tell me anything more about Miss Weld's personal life. Do you know why she called you about her trouble at the Van Nuys Hotel and not her boyfriend?
Apparently, she just didn't.
I like that fine. I'd like it better if the guy didn't have her door key.
So would I. So would we all.
What about her friends? What about Dolores Gonzalez?
It's unusual. You wouldn't normally expect two actresses, one on her way up and the other on her way down, to be as friendly as they are. But I guess if they aren't jealous of the same man, they wouldn't be jealous over acting parts either.
Which man?
Steelgrave, the owner of the dancers.
Baloo had to excuse himself for a meeting. I poured myself another drink before I left.
Did you get anything from that?
Not really.
Joss Ricketts says, so far, which Bond theme songs have you liked or hated?
Hey, well, there you go.
There you go. That's weird. It came after. Anime Mun says, so independents would have to make noir on the cheap as B movies, like it happened the first time around.
Which is
no
exactly.
One was around. I picked the lock and let myself.
The problem, of course, is every
holy crap.
Yeah, every independent film noir I've ever seen has been garbage because they don't have the writing. If honestly, an independent movie could totally do it if they just focus more on the writing than, hey guys, let's get lots of Venetian blinds in the background and smoke and fucking, Roger Deakins cinematography in here. You don't need it. You don't. You need sparse sets with low-key lighting and then focus on the writing and the story and the murder mystery. What is it I quoted from my Out of the Past Film Noircade episode from Robert Mitchum? He said, we didn't have the money, we didn't have the lights, we didn't have the sets, we didn't even have the time. But what we did have was damn good stories. That's Robert Mitchum on the subject of, B film noir, which he was in a lot of. I have no idea where to go.
And he concludes, let's get to it, boys. I'll bring the bourbon.
Oh?
It's me, Mr. Marlowe.
Orpha May Quest. She was right back where she started that first morning.
I'm going home.
Can you afford it? I can't remember whether I gave you back your $20 or not.
Oh, you gave it back to me. I wish you'd tell me what happened to Oren. I'm all confused.
I told you. He probably went off the rails. I don't want to go psychological on you, but I figure he was just the type to go very completely haywire. Then there's that awful money hunger that runs in your family. All except one. There's just one question I want to ask you. Was your father married before?
Why, yes.
Layla had another mother. Tell me some more. After all, I did a lot of work for you for a very low fee of no dollars net.
You got paid, well paid, by Layla, and don't expect me to call her Mavis Weld.
Okay. How did Oren find out something about Steelgrave that the cops didn't know?
I don't know. Could it have been that doctor?
Oh, sure. He and Orrin got to be friends somehow. Common interest in sharp tools, maybe. She looked at her handbag again. I was beginning to get curious about that bag. Why did Orrin call up night before last?
He was scared Dr. Lagarde wasn't pleased with him anymore. Something about the pictures. Somebody had taken them from him. Orrin didn't know who, but he was scared.
I had them. I still have.
I don't believe you.
I'd love to see some of those letters he wrote home. I bet they're meaty.
I could make you give the pictures to the police.
You could try. Tell me, who tipped off the police that Lagarde knew Clausen? You did. Why? Same reason you hired me, to smoke out your brother who was not cutting you in.
You're filthy, you're vile. How dare you say such things to me?
How much dough did you squeeze out of the deal?
Oh!
You leave my bag alone.
Oh!
Layla gave me the money.
Layla didn't give you that money. Steelgrave gave it to you. Because you knew where Orrin was. Your own brother. You set him up so they could kill him.
Layla told him. Layla did it.
But she's not the blood money type. $1,000. I hope you're happy with it.
I could tell the police. I could tell them a lot of things. They'd believe me.
And I could tell them who shot Steelgrave. They might believe me.
Who's alive to prove it? You? Who are you? A cheap shyster. A nobody. Why? Even $20 buys you.
What do you expect? I don't have any brothers or sisters to sell out.
That is dialogue.
Frozen in a kind of horror. The light glinted on her glasses. There were no eyes behind them, but I knew they were fixed on the little smoldering heap of prints in the ashtray.
Damn.
Kind of just wraps things up a little bit.
Kind of does. Not quite the ending, but... Oh, dear.
Again, why are the cops after you? Guess you better leave.
I guess.
Serpent21 says Charles Bronson and Orson Welles should have made Paul Mason commercials together. Or, hell, anything together. Maybe the Shadow could have two Wildies.
Is there anything at the doctor's office now, or...? Okay.
The question now was, should I stop in at my office and see what develops, or hit the streets?
I guess there's another... What? Another plot development.
Amigo, are you all right? Would you like to come and see me?
Huh.
It's hard to tell what's a trap now.
Yeah, no shit. It's like modern Los Angeles.
The play was over. The curtain was down and projected dimly. I could see the action. But already some of the actors were getting vague and unreal. The little sister above all, that fat little new $1,000 in her purse. A few people had been killed so she could get it, but I didn't think that would bother her for long.
Amigo.
4 hours sleep and a couple of drinks and I'd be able to talk nonsense to you again. Right now I've barely enough strength to talk sense.
Jeez, amigo, whatever you wish, come in.
Where did you live in Cleveland?
Did I say I lived in Cleveland?
You said you knew him there.
I was married then, yes. What is the matter, amigo?
You got to know Steelgrave how?
It was just that in those days, it was fun to know a gangster. One went to the places where they were said to go, and if one was lucky, perhaps some evening...
What about your husband, or don't you remember?
The streets of the world are paved with discarded husbands.
Isn't it?
Ooh!
You find them everywhere, even in
dialogue.
Might even be a graduate of the Sorbonne. Might even be mooning away in a measly small town practice. That's a coincidence I'd like to eat. Hey, amigo? You don't use much Spanish, do you? The only thing Mexican about you is a few words and a careful way of talking. I'm in bad trouble downtown. Apparently Miss Weld had the good sense to tell her boss, and he came through. I don't think they think she shot Steelgrave, but they think I know who did.
And do you know, amigo?
I told Orphamay I did.
I was there, amigo. The little girl had been staying here with me. She wanted to see Steelgrave's house. She had never seen a gambling house, she said. So I called him up and he said, come along. When we got there, he put his arm around Orphamay and told her she had earned her money well.
Huh.
He said he has something for her. Then he took from his pocket a cloth of some kind and gave it to her. When she unwrapped it, there was a hole in the middle of it, and the hole was stained with blood. Little orphan maid took the cloth and then stared at him, and her face was very still. But then she thanked him and opened her bag to put the cloth in it. But instead, she took a gun out of her bag, turned around, and shot him dead with one shot.
You made her confess to Mavis Weld. And last night, when you rushed me out there, you already knew he was dead, and there wasn't anything to be afraid of at all. That act with that gun was just an act.
Mavis was determined to take the blame.
I chased her out. She told me she had shot him. She had the gun, the twin of the one you gave me.
I know very little about guns.
Sure. Quest was killed with 2 shots from a .32 automatic. Same caliber. I picked up the shells in the den down there.
Down where, amigo?
Of course, I couldn't know it was the same gun. But it seemed worth trying out. Only confused things up a little. So I switched guns on him. His was a black .38. He wouldn't carry a .32 automatic.
Nice.
And if he killed a man, he would kill him dead. This guy got up and walked a bit.
Which guy? I'm afraid I am not following you too well.
I'd like to say he talked a bit. But he didn't. His lungs were full of blood. He died at my feet, down there.
But down where? You have not told me where it was that this...
Do I have to? You were present when little orphan maid told him where to go. Only he didn't go. That's what's been the matter all along. Steelgrave was a reformed character and doing fine. When this Stein comes bothering him, wanting to cut in, he has to go. Steelgrave doesn't want to kill anybody, but he has to get rid of Stein, so he gets himself pinched. And he gets out of jail by bribing the jail doctor. And he kills Stein and goes back to jail at once, because the cops will come over and ask questions.
Very naturally, amigo.
But look at it this way. Why would he have lunch in a public place on the very day he was out of the cooler to knock Stein off? And if he did, why would young Quest happen around to snap that picture? Stein hadn't been killed yet. I like people to be lucky, but that's too lucky. Even if Steelgrave didn't know his picture had been taken, he knew who Quest was. He was Mavis Weld's boyfriend. He must have known something of this brother of hers.
Oh, he's almost as paranoid as Alex Jones.
That night, of all nights, Steelgrave would not have shot.
And why are the cell phone towers controlling your brain?
Now it is time for me to ask you, who did?
Somebody who knew Stein and could get close to him. Somebody who already knew that photo had been taken, knew who Steelgrave was, knew that Mavis Weld was on the verge of becoming a big star, knew that her association with Steelgrave was dangerous. Somebody who had met Quest at Mavis Weld's apartment.
Oh my.
And given him the works. Somebody who knew those bone-handled .32s were registered to Steelgrave, although he had only bought them to give to a couple of girls. Somebody
Stop! You will stop at once, please. I will not tolerate this another minute. You will go now.
Why did you kill Quest?
For 2 reasons, amigo. He was more than a little crazy, and in the end he would have killed me.
Deport!
And the other reason is that none of this...
They're not sending their best.
It was for love. No matter how many lovers a person may have, there is always one that you cannot bear to lose to another. Steelgrave was the one. That man I would not share. I killed him.
Remove burrito.
And damn thing about all this, darling, unless you destroy Mavis Weld utterly.
Last night she proved that she was willing to destroy herself.
If she was not active. That hurt. Did it not?
Huh?
You are in love with her.
That would be kind of silly. I'd want more than that.
Querido, I have liked you very much. It is too bad.
As I walked down the hall, I didn't really expect a slug in the back. I thought she'd liked better having me the way I was, not being able to do a damn thing about it. She was one for the books, all right. Utterly beyond the moral laws of this or any world I could imagine. Call the police! They came fast, but not fast enough. When they cracked the door, Dr. Lagarde was sitting on the couch holding her pressed against his heart. He had bitten through his tongue. Perhaps I ought to have stopped him. Perhaps I had a hunch what he would do, and deliberately let him do it.
Damn!
Sometimes when I'm low, I try to reason it out, but it gets too damn complicated. The eyes of Miss Dolores Gonzalez were half open, and on her lips there was the dim ghost of a provocative smile. The Hippocrates smile, the ambulance intern said. I guess somebody lost a dream.
Damn! On May 19th, 1947, Mavis Weld was executed for a crime she didn't commit. I had tried to convince her to change her plea to let me tell a judge and jury the whole thing as I knew it and prove that she had not killed Steelgrave. She wouldn't listen. Either she didn't believe me or somehow she blamed herself for what had happened to her brother. She refused a trial. I didn't know what else to do, so I went public with what I knew, hoping that the DA would see the facts and dismiss the case against her. But it didn't work. Giving her finest performance, Mavis Weld convinced the world that she had killed Steelgrave in a jealous rage and that I was a sweet liar trying to protect her. I spent the next 4 years hounding the organization Steelgrave left behind. I took it apart, piece by piece, with and without the help of the law. Jesus Christ! Chuck Norris!
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, we've only got a few more here.
Indeed.
God damn. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I knew it was a short game, so I figured we could play it all in one shot. And we got 2 endings.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not the good ending. I've never read the book, so I don't know if that's how it goes normally.
I'm a huge fan of not good ending, not amazing ending, not morally correct ending.
Right.
Like, I love a multitude of ambiguous endings. Like, just mix it up.
All right. That was a good one.
Jake Downey says, faux porn apparently has the best actors. Okay.
Okay.
Mercenary X21 says, hi, Razor, just caught the stream just now. Was that my game night? Know you and Micaiah Curtis should join forces if only because of the sheer hatred of Jim Sterling.
Okay.
Also, I am loving the music of this.
As did I.
What game is this? Oh, yeah, what is the official title of the game?
It's just Philip Marlowe Private Eye. It's from 1996. I'm saying they should have an animated show like this, like a cel-shaded kind of a... Fuck, you could easily... Fuck, you've had how many Inspector Lupin shows? You've had how many Sherlock Holmes shows? You've had... I mean, come on. Marlowe was the biggest in terms of sales of them all. I think, God, I forget what the exact figure is, but I had heard Raymond Chandler was like the 3rd or 4th most read author of the 20th century. Like hugely popular, more popular by a lot than even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Did they make any more of these? Any more Philip Marlowe games?
No, I think this is the only one.
Wow, that's a shame.
To my knowledge, I think this is the only one.
And
they did it right, though.
And also, any Sabaton jokes yet?
We've
had like 2.
A few.
Nobody messes with Adam Wee says.
We've given them the boot.
Question for all 3 of you. Favorite contradictory, hypocritical belief and ideology of today's left?
Ooh.
Anti-death penalty, but pro-late-term abortion.
Yeah.
I guess it's all in the timing.
Yeah, the abortion thing would be my favorite.
Yeah.
I have quite a few.
You could say the same thing about many people on the right, though. I understand that's that's a convertible analogy, as it were.
When 2 drunk college kids have sex, but it's rape because the women can't consent. But when illegal immigrants rape women and children, it's not rape culture, it's just a few bad apples.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Let's see.
Seems like it's only rape culture when it's a white man. Oh, also, every race is created equal unless you're a white cis male.
Yep.
There's also that poster in the UK. Tom and Kathy are both drunk and have sex, but Kathy didn't consent, so Tom is a rapist.
Exactly. What if Tom didn't consent?
Yeah.
What if it was Kathy's fault?
I know, right? Well, as long as Kathy's a school teacher, I think it's fine, from what I understand.
That too.
Godspeed and Taryn's a bitch. Great, thanks. The Great Motivator says, if you would
The first thing you have to do is to choose
sorry
which
about that.
version of the game you want to play. If you want to play the game that follows the plot of the book,
It's fine.
or
I'll,
sister,
he'll
then
shut up in
click
a
original
second.
plot. If you want to play the game where the motives and murderers are not the same as the original plot, then click alternate plot.
So you do have a B
After
mode.
you've made your selection, click start. to begin the game.
And unlike Resident Evil 2 remake, the B plot isn't completely fucking ruined by Mr. X.
The Great Motivator says, if you would set Philip Marlowe in the present day, what kind of story would you like him to start off with?
You know what I would probably do? I would tell exactly the kind of stories Raymond Chandler would tell nowadays. You would tell the story of what a private detective does now. Private detectives do a lot of online shit. They do a lot of, there'd probably be a lot of stuff involving identity theft and, you know, drugs and, you know, all the same kind of stuff that you deal with in the old Marlowe novels, but you would just kind of update it, honestly. Same kind of dialogue, same kind of snappiness, you know, just sort of give it a modern facelift. I wouldn't see anything wrong with that as long as the stories are original. You know what I mean? As long as it's not just slapping a modern lick of paint on an old Raymond Chandler story, because that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Those stories stand on their own, and they work in their own period, and they're awesome. They're still awesome.
Debonair Nerd says, prior to pop stardom, MJ worked in menswear and was fired for poor people skills. When asked for help, he told customers that he was starting with the man in the mirror. Yes, bad joke. Just sue me.
Ouch.
And actually, there was another one here that didn't pop up. Thank you, Streamlabs. Thy Raven Wings says, commies are smarter with lead in the head.
Very true.
And last one, Dylan Killen says, didn't think you'd get away from me, did you? You didn't think you'd avoid the question. The horrible, horrible question. So, no sabotage?
Indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Well, folks, I hope you have enjoyed this. This was just a fun little lark that we did after the last one. I kind of promised you on the last stream we'd get around to we'd get around to Philip Marlowe, Private Eye. As you can see, if you guys get the game, there is an alternate plot. So, like, if you play it on your own time, you can actually kind of play a totally different game. So I don't actually feel like I spoiled it all that much for you guys. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on Film Noircade, I guess. Film Noircade
That's
live.
actually pretty good. I like that.
For Terangel and Miss Eve, I am Razor Fist. God fucking speed.